Welcome to Clash Masters Season 2, another $20,000 prize pool event for these short few weeks, and it's up for grabs for anyone out there who wants to compete. My name's Woody, and I'm pleased to be joined by a new caster this week. Welcome back, Lady B. How are you, Lady B?
Oh, I'm doing well. Good to see you, Woody. It's been so long that we've been next to each other doing some casting, so I'm very excited. And we've got a lot of great action going on today. Some new teams in the mix and some big names that we'll also get to see.
Absolutely. We've had some teams perform really, really well last week. Teams that have been in the World's Championship matches got defeated, in fact. Our prior Clash Masters champions, Alternate Attacks, knocked down in the quarterfinals, and that led to a little bit of a leaderboard upset. What is going to happen this week? Will we see another team ascendant, or is it going to be a bit more of a scrum, a bit more of a mud fight down there in the weeds? I don't know, but we do have some great names already lined up for our matches today. 4 of them in the quarterfinals to take a look at. But why don't we get a little bit more information about the tournament itself, find out about the format for what we've got going on today. How does that sound?
That sounds great. This is a really fun tournament, and I like the fact that we not only get to see teams kind of playing and qualifying once, but they have to go through the mix again. And this is 4 weeks of competition, Woody, where they have to fight their way with 3 match days each week. And the top 8 teams in each of those weeks earn points with 1, 2, and 3, getting the most of them. And that's really where you want to be.
Absolutely. Top teams get those points, and you need them to move on to the grand finals at the end of this round. Let's see what the prizes are available for today, this week, and for the end of the playoffs. For the qualifiers for today and tomorrow, first place will get $1,500. Second place team earns $750, $350 for the quarterfinalists. Or those are the semifinalists. In fact, it's $250 for the quarterfinalists. And the bulk of the $20,000 prize pool, half of it, in fact, is up for grabs at the playoffs, where we have a $5,000 prize pool, Lady B. $2,500 for second place even. So big 4-digit prizes to knock off in the playoffs. And a $50 bonus for the most valuable player of each week as well.
Yeah, so we've got a lot in store for these players. Really nice that they're rewarded through the hard work that they're doing each week, and then getting that nice big bump at the end of the day, because these teams really are putting in a lot of effort, and it's not easy. We're definitely not going to see it easy, knowing that there are 8 teams from last week that didn't qualify this time around. So there's going to be a huge shift going on from what we're going to see in the ranks by the end of this week.
Right, you are. And with only 3 weeks for qualification, the accumulation of those points is extremely important. Teams that didn't qualify for this week only have 1 more shot next week to try to get those points up. Otherwise, it's all in the last chance qualifier. Their hopes will just be completely dedicated toward that. But you know what? Let's go ahead and get into the first war. We have got QSF in. Nope. Actually, never mind. I think it's going to be Team Zex versus Dark Souls.
Yep, Team Zex kicking this one off, and we've got Uzi, who's coming in with the Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash. This is probably one of the most popular ground attack strategies that we see coming in. I usually call it the old reliable, but in more recent times, we haven't seen it as easy to really work through. You have to be clean cut, particularly with the way you're pathing your troops, and get some good value. And he is working nicely along with that Warden, reaching over those walls, helping to shape up the path that's going to be needed. But he's got to keep an eye on that time, getting the main push of the P.E.K.K.A.s and the Super Wizards coming in, really no more than that 2-minute mark ideally. But it looks like he wants to make his way towards this Eagle, which is going to make this so much more time consuming.
Just 1 jump spell brought by Uzi here, but it could still just be all he needs. Big open compartments on the interior. So as long as he can get some ranged shots at that scatter shot protected down there at the bottom. Oh, there actually is a little 1 gap in the wall down there, so P.E.K.K.A. might be able to snipe it after all. It's going to be a long walk up on the top side, though, and as you mentioned, time is a factor for these really late-stage attacks, and we are already almost halfway through this hit from Uzi, sending in both the Queen and the Warden for a big walk along the top side. Only 1/4 of the base eliminated. This seems a bit of a slow start to me, Lady B.
Yeah, this is really going to run that risk of a time fail. Bringing in the queen, definitely much needed, not only because of the damage coming in, but to speed this up. Now, we do have the log launcher that's brought in. This is going a long line drive through the core of the base. We want to ideally open up the full path to the town hall, but we do typically bring a jump spell just in case we don't make that full connection, but it also gives the opportunity to jump into other pockets of the base if need be, which oftentimes is the case here, especially with a scatter shot on the back end. But look at this, Woody. We've got 54 seconds left to go, and he is nowhere near through the middle of the base, only just getting into it now. And he just needs to ensure that he picks up that town hall at this point, because you don't want to see a 1-star at the start of a war. Not like this.
Big aggressive rage drop as soon as that log launcher pops, and Uzi is still very far short, as you mentioned. This looks like it's going to be a time fail here, but we might be able to potentially salvage the interior, get that town hall down 2nd star and up into the 80s or 90s even in percentage if you can go fast enough here. Lots of firepower left, but just the clock has been ticking this whole time, and Uzi unfortunately did not get set to rapid fire for this hit, and it's going to be going a bit slower than expected.
Yeah, everything walked outside of that base. He is lucky he was able to steer that back through, holding on to the jump to ensure that he could get the heroes in just to take down the town hall. Now, all things considered, an 83% 2-star time failing there, not too shabby. Definitely would have been closer to a time failed 3-star if he had gone straight through the center of the base, but that was really never going to stand a chance of tripling because of how long he invested on that warden walk.
Yeah, big time out in front, and this is going to be an upset. Unfortunate first attack. You usually want to see these be much quicker, not require a whole lot of planning. A lot of times we even just see more spammy type oriented attacks with big waves of troops just crashing through the base. Instead, now it's a time for Carrot from Axio to get the return fire. 83% is not too high of a bar to be set here, and there's a really good chance for them to get the lead right out of the gate. They're going to be storming in with a queen walk in the left corner. Chance to nab that compartment and do quite a bit of damage. Hasn't added on the healers yet, but just expect them to come in as soon as it's looking safe. Coconut Loon to try to find a Seeking Air Mine. None yet, but that is a big divot in the base to go dive into. So I really like this start from Kara.
It is, and that was really nice use of the Yeti Blimp to actually come in and just eliminate the scattershot compartment, just allowing an easier path for the queen and taking away some pretty nasty, hard-hitting damage. Now, we do have the jump in place because we want to get into the core. We want to eliminate the majority of the potential pathing and traps inside there, and the king is in a proper position here to carry along and just clear up more of a path, take on some of the defenses along that queen's way towards a town hall. She'll have a nice little notch here in that warden tower compartment that she can actually pick up the town hall and get that multi-targeting inferno.
Liking this setup, this jump is perfectly placed to get her through a lot of those crucial compartments in the interior, as well as gain access to that town hall on the bottom. Barbarian King's going to get a few smashes off, though. Doesn't have his ability. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to finish off that town hall, and with the Giga Inferno activated, that's going to be some more heat for her to have to deal with. Still, those healers are looking quite healthy, and with the rage up, they are happy to keep her going strong. Kara gets the jump on over. Starting to take some fire now, though, but the main phase of the attack is underway. Dragon Riders in the top left corner, and they're going to get that Eternal Tome popped right on top as well. Big, heavy damage raged up as well. This is going to be the lightning quick attack that we were hoping to see.
Ooh, that was fast, and that was perfect to get that warden ability off early because we needed to bring in those headhunters, helping to take down the defending AQ. Absolutely stunning in this one. Now, I was a little bit worried about that widespread, but the warden's ability helped with that, and we do have those two dragon riders that are working slowly on the outskirts, helping to move things along. Now, it's really up to the warden. Unfortunate to see the queen die out here, but I noticed these loons coming in. A little extra pickup here. No worry on any air targeting defense, and this is a solid 3-star start for Axio. Carrot definitely doing his team some good and capitalizing off of an early defense for themselves.
Very clever hit, and you'll love to see it when you're going second, to watch your opponents stumble on their first attack and then to instantly claim that pickup. This is not just a percentage lead. It is now a star lead for Axio in the first salvo of attacks on our first war here today. That is going to be a big morale boost going into the mid and late war, and Axio has got a lot to be proud of for that first strike. Team Zex is a big name team, to be sure, having qualified for prior COC World Championship esports qualifier events, and now making it through in Clash Masters, but just hitting their face on the wall, stumbling out of the gate.
Yeah, and we can easily see this turn around. A bit of a hiccup from the start of that attack, but I don't think it's too much that they can't recover from. I mean, they did take down Wahaha, that's Darkest Muzan's secondary team that we have also seen in the World's warm-ups and doing phenomenal work. Even saw them in the World Championship qualifiers last year also. So, to be able to take down a team like that, come in with a start like this, I think they're going to ramp it up as we move along. Maybe just shaking off those nerves, knowing that they're playing for so many people who are watching there at home.
Absolutely. And it's a big stage. It's still early in the war. We've actually seen quite a few turnarounds in Clash Masters. I would say that this is, out of all the events that I've been casting, one of the war events that has had the most kind of flips and flops back around. Momentum doesn't necessarily equate to a win here. So we'll give Team Zex a chance. They've got a stacked roster, and so have got plenty of opportunities along the backside to try to make up for this. Oftentimes, the first attack does favor the attackers who are a bit more willing to go in on a base with less time to prepare. They save those tougher bases for later in the war. But nonetheless, maybe we'll see the base building for Team Zex pull ahead, defensive pickups, and then as the attacks start to tighten up a bit, a chance for them to get the return fire here. It's going to be Tira coming in next for Team Zex. Yet another Queen Walk in the top corner, checking around for some Seeking Air Mines. Not finding any, but an early Battle Blimp. I'm not really sure if I like that a whole lot. Big expenditure of that Siege Machine, and popping out will grab the Town Hall. But can they follow up and get that 3-star afterwards? Going to need a lot of pressure from this Law Loon, Lady B.
Ooh, I like that he went in there fast, kept this going, keeps momentum going, and I was a little bit concerned there. He had 4 battle builders all on top of that town hall trying to keep the sneaky goblins from taking it down, but those sneaky goblins, they are sneaky and they are fast. So there was no problem for them there. But look at the approach that we have coming in with the queen charge. Notice the king here in the 9 o'clock compartment, just carrying that queen along. We would ideally like to see her forcing inside the base. We talk about eliminating cores like this for air, typically because that's where we expect to see the majority of the air traps in those damage zones. And with a multi there, we want to mitigate that as well because of those spread out beams that could really do the loons in pretty dirty. But the queen getting a little bit hung up here because the Barbarian King didn't actually completely clean out that compartment, and the defending BK just pulls her along. Let's see if we can get her back on track.
Long time spent in the middle there, and that's going to be a lot of firepower raining down from that Eagle. Those healers have taken a lot of damage too, and some pups are going to be locking on. Multi-target Inferno's burning them up, and Tira is really running into a lot of trouble with this center compartment. Finally hopping over the wall there, but at what cost? I can't tell if there's only 2 or 3 healers left, but at any rate, this Queen Walk could be in a lot of trouble. It is now down and out. Tira's got to rely entirely on the Law Loon.
Oh, that was such a nice approach for the queen, that little narrow compartment, giving her access to the scatter shot, but that is going to be built back up by this battle builder as the loons take that long way around to get to it. The Eagle just firing away, trying to rip these loons to shreds, but the Royal Champion is here for support, and we still have a Rage left over, actually, that could try and get those loons in, but the splash damage here is really going to hurt.
Ouch. Yeah, that scatter shot just saved the whole base. Defense for Karat will come in strong, and just that one building is enough to deny the entire Law Loon push on the other end. Royal Champion can do some nice work, but without any balloons to help her out, that was just too far to have to go. Good attack from Tira, but once again coming up short with the mid-80s% 2-star here. A few cleanup minions on the outer edge, trying to get that elixir storage down, but overall, I'd say that it was a little bit too much firepower invested up in that top side. Couldn't keep the Queen Walk alive into the interior. And it was a nice Law Loon, but you have to do a little bit more work in order to prevent it from being popped by a big old scatter shot on the back end.
Yeah, that was just way too much damage for those loons to have to contend with. And I mean, you could see the plan, you could see everything he was going for, and it was really well thought out. But you're right, just a little bit too much firepower. I'm not sure why he didn't choose to try and invest that rage for the queen a little bit earlier on. The invisibility spell was a nice call, obviously trying to keep that queen carrying along. But at the end of the day, he didn't get everything that he needed, so the Lalo suffered. Now, Team Zex is definitely showcasing their ability here and those great plans, but they're just a bit unfortunate right now for getting the 3-star connection, which we have seen from Axio. And Axio comes into this war actually taking down Tampanai Empire, which is going to be one of the teams that we're going to see in the World Championships this year.
Yeah, I don't want to disagree with you too much there, but I don't think I've seen Team Zex showcased yet. I want to see those triples. I know that they're capable of it. I know that the last 3 attacks can get them back on top if they can just hold the line on defense. Adam from Axio will be the next to strike, and he is also just going to throw away his battle blimp right on this corner for the early Town Hall kill. You know, we have seen a few 1-star strikes prior in Clash Masters. In fact, alternate attacks got a 1-star, and that was basically the end of the war for them. Really early on. So it is a safe way to claim that Town Hall using the Battle Blimp, but it really relies upon a lot for the finishing moves of your attack to be able to pull that off and still be able to get the 3-star at the end. A really good plan of attack, perfect execution later on, and let's see if Adam can do it. You know, a Dragon Rider strike with 6 of them ready to be stacked up can really decimate a base, especially if you get really good funneling early on. This queen is having a little bit of trouble with the pups out here on the backside, but with an Ice Golem to insulate her a bit more, as long as she can get in and knock apart those builder huts, we should have a really good clockwise path around the base from that 2 o'clock position up top down to the 6 and then up and back around for a potential 3-star.
I was hoping that Loon could get a little bit of value in there, but those battle builders really coming on fire and trying to get that eagle back up, so wasting the queen's time just a little bit. But we do have a great connection here with the Royal Champ cutting across, just trying to work her way a little bit deeper into the base and meet up with those drag riders ever so slightly. We do have her ability intact and want to hold on to it as long as possible. One thing that we do ideally want to see go down is that multi towards the back end. I don't know that the queen's going to be able to really take it on, so the drag riders, if they're a bit distracted, it can do some damaging work on them. We still have 1 rage left over and the freeze to try and get them going, but they are struggling to work their way along, and we are seeing some of the update into play here where they're just not as powerful as they used to be. But he is navigating this very well from the outskirts, and that is sparing them quite a bit.
Tornado. A little bit of a slowdown with Tornado there. Could be exactly what Tier was hoping for on defense. 39 seconds isn't going to be decisive on this cleanup. They still have to pass through and get a lot of these defenses back down. Cleanup is good with these minions along the back end. They are vulnerable to any potential air bombs that go off, but with the Dragon Riders having passed through there already, don't expect to see too many going off. 23 seconds left to try to finalize, but unfortunately, the defenses are actually going to be holding up incredibly well. Surprised me, in fact, with how well that multi-target Archer defense and Wizard Tower could hold on. Looks like Axio are going to be missing the triple on their second strike. Still in the lead with both stars and percentage, but giving a little bit of breathing room here for Team Zex.
And that might be a motivator for Team Zex to try and turn this war around at this point, knowing that they have the defenses to try and hold. I think it can be a little bit intimidating, you know, when you start off on the wrong foot and start seeing those really hard-hitting hits come through. But they just need to get their heads in the game, and this could be that starting point for them. It was a really nice handling to get the percentage that high and keep that going, but you're right. In the end, it was the Wizard Tower, the Inferno really holding that one off there. And I was surprised there wasn't more from the start to try and connect that, because with Drag Riders now, you really need to either have your heroes on the back end or have some massive cleanup from the start to ensure that you can get the job done at the end of the day.
Well, we are stacked up with a 4-5 scoreline, a bit tilted toward Axio. Dragon Riders not coming away as hot as we had hoped. Even Inferno Dragons have been dipping down since that little bit of a nerf to their heat up speed. And I'd say overall, the meta has been favoring straight up Dragons. Let's see if it's a chance now for Team Zex to swap back around with 7 of them in this mass drag attack. leading off with another early stab toward this Town Hall, bringing yet again another Battle Blimp for an opportunity to get that one early. But I think it looks like this next attack might be instead going to stack on that Battle Blimp to the rest of the strike. A lot better, in my opinion, get to use that Eternal Tome to help them all out and insulate that Battle Blimp as it gets some additional drops down in there. Even with a Tornado or Black Bombs, you would still expect that Town Hall to be easily claimed, and doubling up on the Eternal Tome is a great move here. Team Zex are on fire in this early strike.
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing is we have a couple of those Drag Riders and Dragons veer in the course of that Poison Bomb, so we are going to lose out some of the power from it, but the main pack pushes along to the center of the base, but is still struggling to actually get this done. And these tribrid and hybrid kind of attacks do really also rely on having the heroes helping for support. But the dragons, first and foremost, need to be spread across and just not only taking on the damage equally, but distributing it equally as well. And that's been a bit of a challenge here for Team Zex. But having the Queen and Royal Champion ability does help out quite a bit. I'd just be a little bit worried because we have the scatter shot on the back end and this multi that is starting to shred apart the Queen here.
Yeah, this attack is looking a bit busted at this point. Too many troops going down, and that bottom right compartment with both an air defense and a multi-target Inferno wound up being the big blocking spot here. We've actually got a pretty good stab with this Royal Champion be able to use her shield on a Tesla farm in the right corner. That's kind of the ideal use case for it there, but just running up against too much trouble with a scatter shot out in front. Team Zex strong on the entry point, but not enough gas in the tank to make it the full distance. We'll get some additional cleanup here and try to get that percentage higher, but at this point, this is not looking like a percentage game that's going to be in Team Zex's favor. They're not doing very well on stars. 3 missed strikes is an uncharacteristic drop in their offensive power. Maybe they're having trouble adapting to the changes in the metagame with these recent balance changes. Maybe they are just off their game today, but having advanced already today over Wahaha, you would have expected that would have given them the boost that they needed to make the victory over Axio happen.
That's exactly what I would have thought as well, especially with them coming in with so many drag rider attacks and these kinds of approaches. So we'll have to see if, they're going to find that connection somewhere. But you're right. There are teams that have been very reliant on the drag riders and any of those mixed strategies that include them. And it's taken a lot of teams some time to adjust to what needs to be done. And we're only talking about a 0.5 tile space difference that the drag riders have moved closer, but it is enough that defenses have been able to take advantage slightly and just distribute more damage coming into them equally. So as those drag riders try and take down certain defenses, just getting targeted even more by others. And this is why we really do rely on those heroes to be available for some of the pickup towards the back end and really helping out. But equally, that start of it, losing out even just a handful of those dragons that went through the poison bomb is a bit tough. You need the full power going into the base.
Yeah, that 0.5 tiles didn't seem like a lot, but it's flying an additional 0.5 tiles, which is more time that you're being attacked and not attacking on every single building that is being targeted by those dragon riders. So it does really start to add up over the course of a strike like that. And so Dragon Riders going a bit down in the meta, Inferno Dragons dropping a bit. We still have seen quite a few mass drag attacks, but I say Laloon remains the king of the skies.
Yeah, it certainly does. We've seen some beautiful Lalo attacks, particularly in like ESL Mobile Open and some of the other tournaments that we have going on with some great hit rates. Queen Charge, Sui Lalos are really coming up high in stats from what we've seen. So if these teams can start focusing on that, I think this could turn around. I'm surprised we haven't seen any Hogs yet or Hybrid yet, because that's also gotten a pretty nice bump up in health and ability. So let's take a look though, as we have Necro coming in with more Queen Charge Drag Rider action, just breaking out the path here for the Queen. She's veering off course slightly and looking to cross over where the King is. This could be a bit detrimental if she doesn't come back around and walk into the Eagle compartment. But he could still adjust. He's got the jump. Healers survive.
Let his heroes get cooked for a while there, Lady B.
Yeah, I mean, the healers survive, and that's the main thing, is the queen can carry on, but he's really going to have to adjust this plan quite a bit. And we do have the opening in the wall. Let's see what the fast thinking is going to be on this one, because he's got the jump again that he could just readjust where he wants to focus his queen. And I'll be curious to see if he's going to try and now jump her into that town hall compartment.
Moving along the outer edge, still grabs that scatter shot, crucial target, and finishes off the air defense as well. Only 2 of them left on this base, and with a Royal Champion to be able to potentially grab one of them since they're on the outer edges. These Dragon Riders have got a juicy snack ahead of them, but will they get the chomp, or is Necrotico going to waste a bit too much time on this early stage strike? Yet again, we have the potential for a time fail here. Queen running into trouble with this Lava Hound out on the left side. Air Sweepers pushing back those healers and denying the heals. Queen's taking an awfully lot of damage. Goes down, and the pups are still up.
Ooh, but he did have the blimp at least to take down the town hall, and that was the plan all along with those sneaky goblins. There was no other course for them, but he would have wanted to jump the queen into the core of the base, try and eliminate some of the pathing for these drag riders so they stayed nice and concise together. We want to keep this as close as possible now, since we have had these balance changes to them, but they do manage to cut across the base, working together with a Royal Champion. 38 seconds left to go. Even if they had the power to get done, which they haven't because they've been obliterated through the core, they wouldn't have the time to finish off the job here.
Black Bomb drops another Dragon Rider, and what a disappointing follow-up for Necrotico to have done so much damage early on and then to see all those Dragon Riders just evaporate. This has really been a big boon for the defensive players here. Base building has just been so incredibly tough to crack. And yet they are still going to the skies. Would you expect to see more hybrid or more P.E.K.K.A. smash to try to counter what we've seen so far, Lady B?
Yeah, but I would. The only problem is they really can't change their plans at this point. It's a little bit too far into the war. They've set the time that they've had to already invest in the plans that they wanted to do. I'm just surprised we're not seeing more of a mix between the ground and air in general. It is a lot of drag riders, and again, drag riders have taken a bit of a punch, and it takes a little time to get used to how to rework them. But that really was more relying on the queen just not pathing right. It was no necessary fault of the drag riders themselves, but just unfortunate push along.
Well, Hogs and Miners both got a big buff. We even actually saw some all Hog Rider attacks in the past week, so hoping to see them grounded a bit more. But like you said, with the plans already in place, they've just got to try to execute on their strategies as they've been laid out. So Takana will be moving in next with another big aerial attack, but it is dipping back toward the old school favorite Lava Hound strike. It's going to be a Subi dive with the queen in the bottom left corner. Bad start, though, catching that Tesla farm. Really needs to get this air defense down, and this is going to force out the free spell. Pops the ability as... Oh, no, hold on. He's going to get invisibility instead. Gets a little bit more time to spin on these outer buildings, and that just might be exactly what he needed to guarantee this Wiz Tower going down before having to pop that ability. If he can get into the interior and use that on the Town Hall, I think that would be a golden strike.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's been investing for, is to get that ability off in the Town Hall. Nicely timed freeze to hold off the single targeting Inferno, and just enough power to get that done. The invisibility spell really gave the Unicorn the opportunity to give that queen just enough health to work her way along. And with the King and the Royal Champion, we are seeing a beautiful cleanup of this base. We've already taken down 31% here, and we can get going with this Lalo. But notice the position of this Stone Slammer. It's coming in to act as an anchor, working in and tanking for these loons right there for the scatter shot. This is a beautiful position, but it's also going to unleash more loons and potentially a dragon to help take down the queen. Oh, we got a drag rider to come right for the defenses. Oh, wow. This is looking stunning so far.
Fantastically offensive move from Takana, but what is the plan for this Archer Queen? All I see right now is a poison spell and maybe praying that those pups will go engage her. Do we have, oh, we have Skellies?
Skellies.
Okay.
The Skelly spell down to help distract her, so those pups are just enough to actually get the job done, which is very, very smart thinking. And this has allowed him to hold on to the ability, work his way through, get those loons here for the back end, right through heal. Oh my goodness, Woody, look at the loons he has left over at the end of the day.
My, that is a massive balloon parade, and we might just be seeing our first triple from Team Zex when they needed it most. Takana came in and slashed through the competition. Plenty of time for cleanup and a fantastic demonstration of the power of La Lune. Still the terror in the skies. Takana will even this thing up on the star race. Chance for Axio to pull back ahead with the triple here, but Team Zex are still going to be in it. If everything goes according to plan, if they get the 2 triples at the end of the war and hold off with their last 2 defenses, Team Zex might still have a shot.
They might. This is that turnaround point that they were hoping for. It's a small opening, very, very small, and they still have work to do, but that's what you need. You just need that door inched ever so slightly open to give you the chance.
Well, there it is, and with La Lune getting the work done, we finally get to shake off the shivers and be happy about our aerial strats once again. Lava Lune being one of the few to be able to get the triples here and now, but with 7 attacks done with and only 2 triples, I'm noticing a big drop in hit rates. Could be more preparation time, giving these teams more of an incentive to want to try to build up those bases, focusing more on base building rather than trying to get their attacks on the line. You know, we didn't get a score line for Wahaha versus Team Zex, but Axio and Tompadai Empire was an extremely tight match, 13-13. And with Tompadai Empire being a golden ticket team, you would certainly expect to see Axio put up just the same sort of showing here now.
That's exactly what you would pretty much expect from them. But I think the one thing that's remaining consistent is the fact that we still have defenses holding very strong since the update. You know, we have had some high scoring wars from the previous matches, but all in all, I think as we get closer through into these quarterfinals, we are going to continue to see a lot of defenses coming into play because there's a lot riding on the line here as they make their way along. But let's take a look because we do have Axio with this opportunity to try and keep their lead, but it provides a lot of pressure for them here as well as he brings in another Queen Charge Drag Rider. These players have become heavily reliant upon it. And again, I am surprised we're not seeing more switch up to ground.
Well, with a Queen Charge out in front, I like this setup. Only 4 Dragon Riders, but this is going to be a big opportunity for a long Queen walk, going even into that bottom compartment to grab that Eagle Artillery and the enemy Archer Queen and another air defense down there to nab. This is going to be a potentially really super long walk, so Jude is going to get some fantastic value, I'm thinking, on these rage spells with lots of damage stacking up on the Queen, ground targeting Expos, even Ice Golems to try to slow him down a bit here. Rage gets even more work in as it boosts up the attack DPS for Jude's Archer Queen. So here we go, take down the enemy Queen on an easy duel won by that rage spell, and the second stage of the attack is already underway. Barbarian King to smash through that left side and provide additional funneling as we get a little bit of a sneaky wizard in there to get that gold storage down. Main phase is getting built up now as the Grand Warden is ready to go, and boom, that Eternal Tome right out of the gate to protect from that scatter shot, Lady B.
Yeah, and while this is going on, he's got the sneaky goblins coming into play for the town hall, already set the tester in, picked up the tornado trap and some bombs, so he knew he was fairly safe to work his way through. This is great multitasking at its form, at its best, as the king actually still carries on and the queen jumps through the core of the base. This is exactly how you want to go about your drag rider attacks. All the moving parts working collectively together, narrowing out the path for the drag riders and giving them that ample support to move their way along. Look how much more power they have left over with this, as the king just ripped through the base and is still on cleanup, and the queen still carrying through. I mean, she's not going to be able to do anything because she's landlocked, and you know, the royal champion and these drag riders have it under control anyway.
I think they probably do. We're getting a little tight on time, but this still should be fine for cleanup. We did get a little bit of an unfortunate early Royal Champion ability there that did not get to connect onto the air defense, but didn't even lose any Dragon Riders from it, and Jude is going to be coming in for a landing with these Dragon Riders. Getting that triple was so crucial for Axio to stay far and ahead of Team Zex, and with that, they will go up to a total of 10, keeping that 13-star war in their sights. Over ahead of Team Zex. It's completely in their hands now. If Axio get the triple on their last hit, they win. And even if they don't, Zex need a really strong triple and an excellent defense from Axio to get a low percentage enough to pull ahead on what right now is still going to be a 2.3% lead for Axio.
Yeah, it's a pretty big lead for them at this point, and they're sitting a bit more comfortably, which makes that difference. So pressure is certainly on, and for Team Zex, but it's not just on. There's also that motivating factor, knowing that they might not be able to make that enough. Even a 3-star here right now might not be enough for the win, but you just have to go in with the motivation, knowing that it ain't over till it's over. And I think that's what most of these teams have learned at this point.
I do believe you're right about that. Perseverance has gotten victories from the jaws of defeat, clenching that sweet, sweet win and the chance to advance for even more points. Let's see if Rita can get the carryover for Team Zex. Coming in once again in the skies, 4 Dragon Riders in my eyes, but mighty, mighty bats on the back end. Rita is not going to be doing a Queen Charge dive. Instead, it's going to be a lot of support troops for this Dragon Rider army. A couple of Ice Golems out in front, perhaps, to block, as well as some minions for cleanup on the back, and 3 Headhunters to try to dive in deep for an enemy hero snack. Rita's going to get an early strike up in the top corner, sending in that Battle Blimp and Rage Spell for the Yetis to just knock that compartment out of here.
Absolutely wiped it out. This is one of my favorite attack strategies right now, and this really displays the power of the heroes, how they work together. We are almost certainly going to see the King, the Queen, the Warden working together, the Royal Champ potentially flanking from the side, Sneaky Goblins taking down the Town Hall, and that use of the Battle Blimp with the Yetis, a little bit different of a variation. A lot of times we actually see a log launcher coming into this particular type of strategy to get the heroes through into the core of the base, so they will need some sheer force to work along, but I do see 2 super wall breakers to help carry this through. Now, with the Sneaky Goblins, we still have to take care of the CC troops. They've taken down the Town Hall. Queen in a nice spot to just quickly snipe them off, but she's losing a lot of health quickly, and we don't want to burn through that ability too early.
Certainly do not. No health to stack on top except from that Unicorn, but with a lot of buildings on the outer edge that aren't going to be able to fire away at her. It's just that pesky Grand Warden on the interior that's going to force that ability out a bit early. In fact, she's not going to get much DPS boost at all from that Royal Cloak, sadly, but she is insulated and behind this Barbarian King. Oh my goodness, the humanity, though. Giant bombs exploding everywhere, intense splash damage to that Eagle Artillery falling down. Rita's attack is just melting in this bottom corner, but can it get the Inferno Tower? If it does, yes, it does! That might be value after all. Dragon Riders are soaring in through the skies. Eternal Tome yet to be used, hoping to get through that bottom right compartment where a big, nasty single target Inferno and an air defense are ready to be popped. But it's the bats instead! Protection from the Ice Golem keeps him safe from the splash, and that is so many bats!
Oh, the scatter shot just got one nasty blow on a huge pack of those bats. We still have some working along, but he's not going to be able to make his way into the core of the base. Those Drag Riders not enough, even with the Warden helping out to get that far into the center. Now, this is a bit of a variation to the particular type of strategy that I'm accustomed to seeing the way this goes with the log launcher. And I'm not sure if it just has lost too much power because of that, but it is a tad bit unfortunate to see that get smacked so hard, because this is where you want to see the Force coming along, particularly right there at the tail end of the war, where they could almost make the opportunity for themselves in this match. I like these close wars, and unfortunately for Team Zex, despite taking down Wahaha, they're not going to be able to claim today's victory.
82%, a big drop for Rita, who had all the hopes right on those shoulders. Couldn't get the triple, and that is going to leave Axio with an easy walk past the finish line on just a 2-star. Team Zex underperforming on offense, I think it has to be said here. Did have some really strong bases set up and shown for us in this war. Might have even given Axio more of a run for their money than they expected, with Axio getting the victory over Top and I Empire, and yet still just question mark whether or not they'll get 13th in this war. So nice base designs to both teams. Defense really shining in our first war of the day. But Axio are going to get to go on a victory lap now with Godzilla charging through. Finally, we can say it, with the Hog Rider Miner hybrid combo.
It's about time that we finally see hybrid getting thrown down. Now, we start this off with the queen. We're seeing a lot of these beautiful paths, like long-winded paths leading to the town hall, so we can really form up the shape for the hybrid, so we can narrow out as much as possible and move it along, and just take the time. You still need to rely on your queen to be there available at the tail end of the raid, typically to help with the cleanup, so we can invest a little bit of time in the start in order to give the miners what they need to narrow that out. It's really the miners that have to have as much limited focus as possible.
Getty on the outer edge, going to get a little bit of additional funneling done there. Mortar's going to cause no problems whatsoever. Godzilla has got an easy strike into this left side corner now, with those healers still keeping that Archer Queen topped off and healthy. This is looking like a beautiful setup for the Hog Rider Miner hybrid combo. All they've really got to be worried about are the traps at this point. Giant bombs and spring traps can both be deadly for them. So seeing any additional traps trigger off there with a giant bomb right above the town hall is good news for Godzilla. Big funneling additionally added on top of the right side corner. Barbarian King and a siege barracks coming out. This is going to be an absolute wallop of a strike. Multi-target Inferno going to start to burn them up on the outer side. Might have been a good time for an Eternal Tome to pop, but no, Godzilla's going to let that Eagle Artillery hammer away and the multi-target Inferno to get him knocked down a bit more as well. Instead, relying on this heal spell to try to top him off, but I'm not sure if the positioning is going to work out just as he had hoped for that. Godzilla taking some fire early on. When will he use that Eternal Tome, Lady B? There it is.
There we go. Finally gets that going, leading them through, but they're a little bit further behind. We do have the king still going strong, and I want to point out, while that queen was doing her job, taking up some time, he funneled up the king perfectly to work into that eagle chamber and have this great meetup for the back end, which is really just giving the miners and the hogs every bit that they need to carry on and finish up the entire 6 o'clock chamber here, taking down what remains. And we still do have that queen with her ability, even though we're starting to run the risk with a little bit of time, with 23 seconds left to go. Godzilla knows that that is not going to necessarily be a problem, particularly with the Barbarian King still alive with his little barbarians following suit.
Strike hard and stop fast. Lightning breath for the win. Plasma bolts striking through this entire base. Godzilla roars again. The terror of the deep secures victory for Axio. And on a 13-star finish, they can march on proud and confident into the semifinals tomorrow. With their victory over Team Zex, they improve their point score for this Clash Masters second qualifier, as well as the prize that they are going to be guaranteed to earn. They can kick back and relax now because their next award doesn't come until tomorrow, but we have got 3 more thrilling ones coming up for the rest of today. Lady B, give me your final impressions on that last war.
I don't know what to make of it. I am surprised to see these teams hitting so hard in their previous matches, only to succumb to lower percentages, though that wasn't the case for Axio. But at the end of the day, we've got to see more than just drag riders. You've got to mix it up if you want to stay relevant in this current meta.
Very well said. Defense is holding strong. We'll see if that continues to be the story into our second day. And I think that's going to be just about it for our first war. We're going to be ready to kick off our second war now and introduce you to our next 2 teams. Hagura Metal and PCZW will be coming up next. Welcome back from our quick break here. Clash Masters has returned, our second season, our second qualifier, and now our second match of the day. Hagura Metal versus PCZW, and another opportunity for one team to advance, improve their point score, get some more prizes, and keep their eyes on that big battlefield ahead, the playoffs, where half of our $20,000 prize pool is going to be handed out. I think we should start off, Lady B, by taking a look at the bracket. How does it sound to you?
Oh, that sounds wonderful to me. So we can already see that Team Zex, unfortunately, out for the day. Axio moving forward into tomorrow's semifinals. And for Hagura Metal, they're going to play off against PCZW. But later today, look at these matchups. So we've got NY Amazing going up against Space Station Gaming. And we're also going to see X Team versus Dark Jack. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is, we said this earlier today, that none of these teams that we're watching today had made it into last week's qualifiers. So we're going to see some big shifting around. This is a lot of open opportunity for many teams coming into the mix, particularly for next week, to try and even work their way up and make some impact.
Right you are. Well, we're ready to start this war, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Hagura Metal's Smith Pro will be the first to strike, and boy, do we have an interesting start for you. A Golem out in front, recently buffed up to level 11. Big green emerald monster rocking through for a Law Loon strike. That's going to be some nice insulation for a queen charge in the upper corner to grab that town hall, maybe even knock apart that single target Inferno behind as well, as Smith gets ready for the main stage strike.
Yeah, unfortunately, that Golem taking a little bit of a veer, so the Queen took on some damage from the Expo, not too much at once, and the King on his course to take on that Scattershot compartment. I noticed the Zapquake that we have in here, likely wanting to take out a multi. I'm not sure which one, maybe right there in the center of the base with that 5-1 combination. Maybe can spread it out nicely. And let's see what the Royal Champ can do as she works her way towards the opposite side of the base here. She could pick up that outlying one potentially if she gets her course right. And unfortunately, we don't get the single down. But for the Lalo portion, the single wouldn't be too much of an issue. It just has more to do with the pathing if they have to cut through that core of the base to get there.
Stab through, and a massive lightning strike in the interior nabs another Inferno tower. Yeah, the single up top could be devastating for an Inferno, or for a Lava Hound, excuse me. But for those balloons, shouldn't be too much of a problem, as they should be able to swarm back on the other side by the end of this strike. 2 air defenses still up for those Lava Hounds to path over. 1 pops in the bottom corner while we have that big Archer Queen ready to fire away, but the left side one is going to be no problem at all for these air balloons, as long as they can get there soon enough. Only 1 haste spell to give them, though. They're right there in the core, and they are going to need to go awfully fast. Tornado Trap catches the big clump over on the left side, and that's going to be massive scatter shot damage there. Need to shut that down with a free spell, and Smith Pro gets it off perfectly. Last haste is out. 1 more invis spell for the final wave.
That is some beautiful spell action there. He's handled this so well. Oh, the invisibility spell, even just enough to get that single down, but not quite. Not quite. So it is going to be up to the Warden and the Dragon, who are chasing that Ice Golem out of the CC, trying to make their way to finish off the job here. We still have more defenses surrounding. This could come to bite Smith Pro in the butt, even though he had this beautiful clean-cut Lalo, great pathing, great spell usage. Just a slight delay here and there, I think, has limited some of his power in this one, Woody. But I don't know, 26 seconds left to go. The Dragon's doing the tanking here, taking the lead, and that means the Warden and Electro Owl can really do some nice work.
A little bit of chain lightning action there from that Electro Owl, zapping onto the Wizard Tower behind. Healing should be enough to keep that Dragon safe, but is there enough damage? I don't know. 4 buildings left, 7 seconds. I think it is just going to be too late.
Not enough time. That landing in a time fill really hurts. If the King had gotten just a tad bit more invested, this would have been a very, very different approach there for Hagura Metal, but still, what a great way to kick off this war. Even though it's not a 3-star, it's a high percentage 2-star. That 98% can really do them some favors in this matchup later in the mix-up, because I'm sure we're going to see some defenses coming through. But I think more importantly, they have definitely shown what the opponent is going to have to expect from them, and that is some excellent Lalo skills.
I was so ready for that triple right out the gate on an amazing Lalo, and a clever use of Golem there for the early stab by that Archer Queen. Nonetheless, even though we miss, it is still going to be a good hit here for Hagura Metal. Anything short of a triple is going to be a little bit disheartening, but if it does come down to percentage, at least they can be happy about that 98 up on top. So What's Your Name will be the next hitter, and we've got 3 lavas ready for this massive Laloon hit. Just 1 Ice Golem to insulate for this Archer Queen down in the bottom corner. No charge for her, just a deep dive stab into this compartment with a Sui attack, cracking through with that super wall break, and a big Ice Golem popping a little early for my taste, but does shut down the scatter shot and will be able to use the ability here from this king to be able to knock apart that enemy royal champion.
And we do want to see a lot from his own RC coming in here. So invest that invisibility spell to ensure that we can take down the multi. But are we going to be able to get as much as the air defense? Not with these Teslas. The entire Tesla farm in that compartment really throws her off. So the full value that he was really hoping for is not there in the end. And it's a little bit risky having that to come into that air defense surrounded by the Teslas on the back end. But let's see how he approaches with his Lalo. The Electro Drag actually coming in beautifully here and helping to chain through, taking down the Queen quickly. And a freeze right there in the core of the base, holding off that multi, looking to rage up. Another freeze, holding off the air sweeper, getting those loons through with a delayed warden ability that almost clips all the loons. This should maybe just be enough with a haste in his pocket and a Skelly spell.
My, What's Your Name has done it! All the way to the back end, and even with a couple of enemy Ice Golems to try to freeze up and slow this thing down, a minute and 13 for cleanup is going to be sure to grab victory. You might have some max level walls there, Katsumi. They are built awfully high, but What's Your Name floats right on over atop and gets the triple in super quick fashion. Just about a minute left for cleanup, and we are not anywhere close to the sort of time fails that have come out from previous attackers. Hats off to What's Your Name for getting a magnificent finish.
And this was a very interesting way to approach it. Not uncommon, but not as common as we typically see. Now, I mean, when we go about our Lalos and we typically talk about pathing, we're looking to take out as much of the outside edge, cutting into the core, so you can eliminate that damage zone as we've spoken about. But this actually forced its way right through into the center of the base, using the heroes on opposite sides to create that path and force it along. So delaying that warden ability was really helpful, really necessary, but I'm really impressed to see him holding on to those spell combinations so long. And he knew he was going to need those to carry him through the back end of that base. Absolutely stunning start for them.
Yeah, very nice to see such a well-planned attack, and especially nice to see it as the first strike for PCZW, an attack which often has the least planning and preparation possible for it, just because of the time pressure to get it put together. To still see a well-intricately designed Laloon hit for the very first one bodes extremely well for PCZW's offense in the later stages of this war, and really should give a lot of concerns for Hagura Metal. Despite their nice 2-star start with a 98% backup, they are behind, and they're going to have to really push hard and try to get those triples just to catch up to the PCZW army.
And they're behind, but not by much. Yes, they're down 1 star, but only 2% that could come back into their favor. The one thing that I am impressed with, though, I know the Hagura Metal name, part of the Queen Walker's family, but what I don't know is PCZW. I've never heard of them, and they are certainly coming in impressing us for sure with that beautiful attack. Now let's take a look as Hagura Metal continues on, looking to connect with that 3-star because they don't want to fall too far behind, especially seeing what PC is bringing to the table today. And we kick this one off with the Super P.E.K.K.A Smash. Warden leading the passage here. Now, when we come in with these Warden walks for our P.E.K.K.A Smashes or any other type of smash base, even Super Witches, we want to try and eliminate any potential flank damage from your entry point. And we can see that with multi-targeting Infernos, scatter shots, to try and create that passage around. So the Warden will invest some time trying to take this down, shape up what we need to just push along from the opposite side of the Town Hall since we're bringing the log launcher, and then just move forward with this. But he's got to get going fast because time is a ticking. And again, that 2-minute mark is not where you want to be starting off any further past.
Now, you asked about the names of these clans and what their histories are. You gave me the perfect opportunity to give just a little bit of a teaser here. Lady B, do you recognize the names Nishang Dance and JX Tiger?
I do.
Both of those teams have been defeated because of the squads that you see here now. PCZW defeated Nishang Dance of all opponents on a 13-13 scoreline previously. And Hagura Metal got a 14-11 stomping showing over JX Tiger. This is really an incredible showdown, and even if we haven't heard the names of these teams yet, ClashMSTRS is the perfect case to showcase new talent, and that is exactly what we are witnessing on display right now. The Long Bomb Log Launcher from Hagura Metal is going to get a big long roll over 3 layers of walls to crack into that Town Hall compartment. Big rage spell up right as soon as that CC clump comes on out, and they should be able to knock it apart. Big stab out in the right side corner as well is going to knock apart that Eagle artillery, and with a shot at a multi-target Inferno going down to this Royal Champion, Hagura Metal is well positioned, even though there's not a whole lot of troops left in this army, to still clean up confidently. Lots of spells left to use, and it is coming in hot and fast.
Man, that log launcher, did you see it go? Cutting through those walls like a hot knife through butter and unleash the Yetis. Now, we see a lot more value coming in with these Yetis since their upgrade and getting even more because we get those extra Yetimites that come along with it. But we still do need to rely on that Queen at the end to help finish taking down the Town Hall. And we still have her ability reserved having to pop through it now as she gets sucked right into that poison bomb by the tornado trap. Oh, and I'm just finally looking at the time. Again, we spoke about that investment from the Warden, which was going to be the biggest factor in the success of this. He is hanging on to that Royal Champ ability, waiting to see if that can be the final blow to get it done in time. And it is. His patience on her ability, perfect, giving him every bit that he needed to pick up that 3-star. Absolutely phenomenal. That is pro level moves right there.
You'll love to see it. And with a swag jump spell left in tow as well. Another 2 spell capacity yet to be used with time and troops to spare. That was so perfectly set up. Not even leaning super heavily on like a massive wave of force to sweep on through. Instead, kind of picking apart the base with a little bit of a stab here from heroes on the right side corner to get that Eagle artillery early and use just enough spell support to be able to knock them apart without losing either of the heroes himself, just denying ever so slightly too much damage from the opposing defenses to get in over the top and tanking out in front. That was an amazing attack from Hagura Metal. Well-earned 3-star to pull them back up by their bootstraps for a PCZW squad that is looking to get another triple to stay ahead now. Queen charge out the right side corner is going to get an early attack on the Town Hall. Love to see the Queen charges against the Town Hall much more than just the battle blimps, because that saves the siege machine, in this case, the Stone Slammer, to back up a gigantic Dragon Rider assault later on in the war.
It does, and I really actually like the position of where he's sending in this Queen, because she can easily pass around that poison bomb, working to the Dark Elixir store, just taking her time to work around it and completely avoid it, which is always a nice shout. That means you don't have to worry about having to force that ability, especially as she's inching her way closer to taking on more damage. And of course, it keeps those healers out of any potential risk as well. But drops in that super wall breaker just to get the Queen going deeper inside the space, taking advantage of these nice big, potentially open compartments now that he's actually just completely opened it up himself. He's made it a huge chunk of availability now for this queen. This is going to be a huge hero push coming in, especially with the use of the king and the royal champion to support, who ideally should cut across and help out the drag riders just a tiny bit.
This is a wide spread out attack from PCZW. Lots to keep your attention focused on. With a Eternal Tome out the left corner, trying to keep these Dragon Riders safe from Eagle Artillery raining on down. They will be able to pop through that compartment. And my, these are some huge compartments to focus on. Big pathing potential problems here, but PCZW has stayed on track the entire time. The funneling has just been spot on. Stone Slammer on the back end with a freeze to add on top to keep that scatter shot out of commission, and with a snipe from this Archer Queen, that should be enough. One more freeze even ready left to use at the end, and the ability is going to be popped there, finishes off the scatter shot, and this is a clean strike. PCZW, the double back-to-back 3 stars are going to get 6 up on the board.
This really just shows some solid planning here, and you can see where the players are looking at these bases and just separating them into quadrants and saying, okay, the queen's going to go here. The king and the royal champion are going to go up on this side. We're going to bring the drag riders here. And then we have that Stone Slammer left over. And look at the value that it offered coming in from the bottom side of the base. The queen was still carrying on. Drag riders still there. But if it was only one or the other, they really would have thinned out. So thinking about these bases, in this quadrant type section is starting to become a really big trend. And we're seeing that as well with the kind of the attack that we saw earlier with the blimp that didn't really work out with the Yeti blimp and the sneaky goblins for the town hall. When you can split up your base like that, but as long as you're getting the full value out of each and every segment, you're going to see absolute smackdown on those bases, which is basically what we just witnessed.
Yeah, sure is. Really wonderful job to PCZW, especially against such a terrifying foe, really, in Hagura Metal, stacking up with 5 stars and a 99% average on the first 2 strikes. To be ahead of that requires nothing less than perfection. That is what has been delivered, and this is going to make for an amazing mid-war into the late stage. Still wide open, though. A tiny lead for PCZW, but quite appreciable in that it is a star lead. But we have seen lots of defenses earlier on. If our previous war is any indication about the strength of these bases that we might potentially see built up for the later attacks, this could swing in one direction or the other in a very quick fashion. We're going to be going back to Hagura Metal with the 3rd attack from them to start this mid-war off. Lady B, do you think that this is going to be Hagura Metal's chance to shine, or is PCZW just going to stay on top this whole time?
I don't know. What I'm seeing from PCZW, I'd be really worried. I'm edging towards seeing that elusive perfect war potentially. I'd feel horrible if only 2% was separating Hagura Metal from being right up in there in contention. But let's take a look, because they need to continue going strong and solid and hope that this could turn into a 14-14 star war instead, and Katsumi coming straight in with that blizzard to secure taking down the town hall and also getting the lure of the CC troops. Now, this is really important that when you are investing those blimps in, you're pushing in deeper into the base. It's nice when you can get that extra value, your intended target defensively, but also getting the CC lure where you can pull it to a nice dark corner, allow your queen some opportunity to take it down while she's not taking on any damage, so she's going into the base nice and fresh.
PCZW and Hagura Metal both coming in with an above 13-star average from their prior 4 wars, and both having picked up 14 stars in their last war in the round 1 of our bracket here, facing off against Don't Angry Me and LA Exiliados. Hagura Metal and PCZW are both at the top of their offensive game. Katsumi hopping over walls with a queen dive here in the middle. No archer queen support, or no healer support rather, for this Archer Queen, but nonetheless she is getting massive value. An incredible strike with just the Barbarian King out in front to try to block for her, a Golem as well, but being able to dive in onto an Eagle Artillery and finish off for some beautiful funneling on this Laloon. Katsumi is well on the way to a triple, and I don't see any way to shut that down for what's your name on defense here.
Not with that insane hero die value. Nearly 60% of the base taken down single-handedly between them and the Blizz. And let's take a look at the pathing that we have for these loons. It's straightforward, U-shaped, coming in through towards the multi on the back. And yes, we have to worry about that, but we've got a freeze to help hold off that and the air defense as well. Plus, we can haste these loons right in. We do have to be mindful of the splash. So pops that Warden ability, keeps those loons safely through, and he's got all the power he needs to finish this off. Doesn't even necessarily need to drop that freeze, but does it for safe measure because they don't want to take risks. They know they're just a little bit further behind on percent, but not for lack of skill. We are seeing some of the most excellent Lalo players around just in these two teams alone today, Woody.
We sure are. And what a pick-me-up from the big defensive advantages that we saw in the last war to see now offense in such an incredibly crushing showing. Really just a 98% two-star out of the gates was the only thing that's been short of perfection so far. And with so many swag spells left on top, like a minute for a cleanup, this has really swung back in the favor of offense. And even in the skies, where I was starting to lose faith in aerial attacks. You know, I had said that I thought that the Lalu was still the strongest, and I think that that is still overperforming in this war. But not going back down to the ground, sticking to Laloon. This is some real like ABC type of top tier clashing. Fundamentals on base deconstruction, planning, and execution. There's like no slip-ups, no mistakes, no missed time spells, no failure to use an ability at the right moment. It's just really a pleasure to cast because there's so much to dive into and dig into, and you don't even really get a chance to be like shocked, surprised, or worried about the way that these attacks are developing because it's all in the up and up.
Yeah, I mean, you see how confident they are with their entries and how clean they're doing them. That entire push with the heroes was just absolutely phenomenal. Taking advantage of the new level to the golem, and we can see, in effect, how powerful it actually is. And this is why you're going to want to start thinking about bringing those to your own attacks. Now, let's take a look. We've got Clear Sky coming in with all these air attacks. This seems to be quite the fitting name. King diving into this eagle compartment. We want to just start clearing this out, shape up what the queen's going to need. And I'm taking a look. Looks like she's going to be working on her own here as well. No healers for this one because we are coming in with the hybrid. So we invest those dragons and we're going to want to keep them corralled in. So let's see if the queen actually works her way along the outside edge of the base, anchored along with this one outside dragon.
This is a beautiful dragon spread, and they are about to collapse right into that upper left segment of the base, that 11 o'clock position, as they will then fan out again for the midsection multi-target Inferno, and maybe a few of them going down toward that Town Hall compartment. Archer Queen is well protected on the outer edge, just some nice cleanup, but sniping out an air defense. Ooh, and that Wizard Tower as well. Good timing there on that free spell. Big black bombs knock apart that poor battle blimp, and it doesn't get to the Town Hall. This could be a bit of a dicey situation, but there should still be enough firepower to finish off that Town Hall, especially since there's another freeze to drop on there to finish off the Giga Bomb. That was close, but Clear Sky has kept his head on straight, and this is going to be a good midsection here, looking like a still potential strong 3-star finish.
He handled that so nicely, especially holding onto this Royal Champ in his back pocket, because she's really going to need to work her way along, help clear up the defenses that remain here that are going to continue to knock down the Dragon and the Grand Warden. But that invisibility spell, typically we reserve it for the Royal Champion. Perfection where he placed it so that the Warden and those dragons can take down the scatter shot, and that gives the Royal Champ even more power to work along as if she needs it, because she's got the queen here for backup. But this is the problem. The king defending BK, trying to knock her down, but you know what? You can't keep a good woman down, and that Royal Champ is still alive, fighting on and keeping PCZW in their perfect position. They have not failed an attack yet here, Woody.
Yeah, holding on to that Archer Queen ability until the very end. You haven't even seen me at my full power! The 3 stars and another knockdown for PCZW. The perfect setup so far on these first 3. Tic-tac-toe start. And that is what you're going to need to topple over Hagura Metal, which if you had just shown me their scoreline at the start in 8 stars with 99.3% to lead, I would say there's no way that their opponents are beating them at this point, especially a team like Hagura Metal, which you mentioned. Squad from the Queen Walker's clan family, lots of amazing opponents to practice against, having toppled the Dark Unicorns, JX Tiger, Habanero in the opening salvo, and then being able to get 14 stars in their previous war against Don't Angry Me. This is really looking like their day is just being rained on. Their parade is just being shut down. PCZW walking all over on top now, Lady B.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that we're seeing these new teams surfacing. ATN's not here. Queen Walkers, they're not here. You know, those top teams that most people would have expected to see. Yes, we're going to get to see NY Amazing and Space Station Gaming, but we've got these new up-and-coming names that are certainly making statements in the mix, and they are fighting their way through those early matches that we don't often get to see. So this is where they get to display themselves. Now, Axio trying to keep the momentum moving along, 2% behind, which, you know, the way PCZW is going, it probably feels like 5 stars behind at this point because they are relentless. But Hagura Metal has that confidence. They know what they're bringing to the table, and they're looking to see if they can finally hold a defense to get it done. But it starts with connecting with these 3 stars first, and another Blizz to kick this off before sending in the Hydra, taking down that Town Hall, eliminating the majority of the core of this base, and we've really started to shape up a beautiful funnel for the dragons, and that is very important for any kind of dragon attack to keep them fairly narrowed out at this point, but in a nice straightforward line, so they have that huge line drive in with the damage distributing equally.
Yeah, that is a massive murder ball Axio has set up over here, holding that Eternal Tome just until it looks like those dragons are going to start to path on out. They're going to actually turn around a little bit to help out with some little tiny troops on the floor here, but got to get that pop that ability. Oh my god, this is the best timing for the ability. Why isn't it going off? Axio, get the Eternal Tome out!
I'm surprised. Typically, we want to see those Warden abilities coming off early, especially when we can use the loons as a means for checking for any traps, picking those up, giving the dragons more firepower. But man, he held on to that, I guess, as long as he possibly could, and he is struggling to get through the core of this base. One drag there alone, trying to take down the queen, does manage to get her down, but we still have the air sweeper and the multi to get through. It's hanging on by a thread, so the Warden and the Electro Owl could one-shot this, but we still have a huge round of the corner to go here in that scattershot compartment.
A tragic loss of a massive army of troops. Axio, I think, really slipped up with the late Eternal Tome there, which could have gotten fantastic value early on when a lot of splash was spread out against a massive wave of Dragon Riders, and the positioning just could not have been better. Nonetheless, might be able to pull this off after all with no defenses left and 50 seconds for cleanup. I think that this is pretty much guaranteed, in fact. Axio with overwhelming firepower has still got the win despite a really troubled entry point, losing all of those big troops in the skies. It's just the heroes, and boy, did they have a heroic finish, Lady B.
They certainly did. And again, holding on to that Royal Champion, coming in to clutch, taking down some of those defenses, particularly that scattershot was huge for this. But he knew he was fairly safe, having that Queen ability and the King still alive and well for support. And I don't know if that's why he necessarily held on to it so long, but it worked in his favor. I think it's a risky play. More often than not, we do see the Warden clipping those dragons and, most importantly, the loons to get deeper inside that base, picking up those traps. So he played it a little risky, but it really paid off for him.
Sure did. Nice job there, being able to finish off despite my concerns and uncertainty about whether or not that was going to make it all the way there. We do see the 3-star in Hagura Metal with a 99.5% average have a chance to get up to 14, really keeping PCZW's feet to the fire here and kind of requiring them to keep pace. Another triple and another triple gets a perfect war, but it's saying a lot that they like really need a perfect war if they want to guarantee the lockdown and advancement into the semifinals. Now, Hagura Metal and PCZW, probably the tightest match that we have seen in Clash Masters qualifiers history, if you ask me. I mean, you couldn't like beg for a 0.5% difference on the mid-war for such well-established teams and having performed so amazingly in the past. This is really a treat to behold. So PCZW would be moving in next with the Super Witches. What on earth? 2 jump spells to hop over the big compartments that we set up. An entirely gigantic open compartment in the middle here. But only 3 Super Witches. A lot of times we see more brought in. Do you think that there could be one waiting maybe in the log launcher? Or is it just going to be a lighter touch this time?
Yeah, I noticed the 3, and I am surprised because typically we're seeing it come in with 4 in the mix. And it is coming back around. I have seen this successful, but I notice he's bringing the Ice Golem. So is Ice Golem... We'll see if it's going to be worth the investment and where it is placed to come along. But we notice that we have the log launcher in this one. We're going to want to come just from the opposite side of the town hall, picking up as much as we can. And as I mentioned earlier about our super P.E.K.K.A. smashes and any of those smash style bases or attacks, including these super witches, we want to take down that flanking damage. We want to start navigating the pathing, especially because you have a main push and focus to come in. But hold up, because this warden... He's on his own. We've got the log launcher coming down, opening up the wall. And he does come back into the mix. I'm curious to see what's going to be in this log launcher that it's so split up. Yetis and Valks to actually take down the scattershot compartment so we can get everything through the base. Just focus on that separately with one super rich to work along with them. Interesting.
Going down multiple lanes at once. PCZW is really going to have a split attention on this one, but with the CC pull out now and an Eternal Tome already used by that Grand Warden, that's going to require a lot of spell support in the mid lane to be able to finish it off. Super Witch is having an awfully large amount of trouble on the right side, though, and with that lane standing, PCZW do still get the mid lane finished off. Left lane is going to be going down as well, but the top side is the most important. That's where a scatter shot is. 2 big heroes to topple, and the town hall up on the top side. I hope we don't see the unthinkable, the dramatic finish, the big defensive pickup, a 1-star. Instead, we need to charge in fast, use all of those spells and abilities, knock that apart, grab the 2, and then try for the cleanup on the outer edge, but it is going to be tough with only 48 seconds left now, Lady B.
Oh, I felt like he's sleeping on those spells, but does get the reach down. He's got the Queen, the Royal Champion, right there at the back end, holding onto the ability, even has the invisibility spell, just enough to get the Town Hall down, but the scatter shot that should have come in with the investment of a Super Witch, of the log launcher, not enough. And this is actually going to be the opening for Hagura Metal. They are going to be able to hold on defense, but not only that, Woody, they've got the percent now on their side, that 98% 2-star that seemed like it was never going to do them any good from the start of the war is now going to be their opportunity if they can pull in the final triple.
Oh my goodness. They have waited patiently and finally they are rewarded. With PCZW still holding on to an invisibility spell toward the late stage of that attack, we did not get the big smashing follow-up that they definitely needed to clinch victory or to even stay ahead now. Hagura Metal tied up on stars, but with a pretty confident lead on percentage there by just about 3%, with only 1 attack remaining for both teams. As long as we just go even keel from this point out, Hagura Metal are going to get the win after all. Talking about perseverance earlier on in this match, we have certainly seen it shine here in this last round, and this could be Hagura Metal's chance to prove that they are the team that deserves to be on top. Queen Walker's favorite, a 14-star performer, a squad that won't back down even when they're behind. Hagura Metal, can you finish off in style with souped up super potion ready to get all these troops topped off to their maximum abilities? Kisara is ready to deploy a bit of an old school go wipe.
We do have
or is this a go wee wee? I don't know.
Yeah, the Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash. This is
The
what I
rewrite.
call it, the Super... Yeah, I call it the Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash. With the P.E.K.K.A., the Super Wizards. It's not a Super P.E.K.K.A., but we've got the Super Wizards in the mix. So similar to... It's the new Yeti Smash that we have coming through because... I'm actually surprised we don't see Yeti Smashes anymore with the new update. But this is very functional, and nobody is really going to change and stray from it.
But calling it the Super Go Wii Wipe reminds me of my Town Hall 8 days. Lady B.
And we do bring the witches in, so, you know, there's a couple different names for it as well, you know, but these witches are actually really integral to helping the king with the funnel. They work along the outside edge, reach over those walls that the king can't necessarily get, and they just keep everything pathing nicely together. And the use of that warden, again, keeping mindful of the time, gets everything working in quickly, shaped up the base perfectly. Yes, we do have the scatter shot to worry about, but he should be getting the damage coming in head on to them a little bit easier, and we still have the Royal Champ actually to help flank this along.
Nimble and swift start, knocking down walls with powerful punches and ready to float on over these other sections. Kisara can float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, full adaptability, versatility, and exactly the sort of approach that you need, especially on a long bomb Hail Mary shot like this, going for a Town Hall in the bottom corner, but only after doing a lot more work along the top and outer side. Let's see if this pays off.
Ooh, he's lost all of his healers, and that's a bit unfortunate, but he still has so much force left over with this one. With the queen reserving her ability, has a jump that's not necessary, but does re-guide the ice golem into the town hall compartment. It's just a quicker path rather than having to worry about that queen walking all the way back around into that opening. So it should entice them to move forward, and the queen just needs to hurry up and take advantage of the ice golem taking the lead there. Oh, and we've got a golem there to boot. Oh my goodness, Woody, 46 seconds left to go. It's all coming together for Hagura Metal to be able to claim this victory after the 2-star start for them.
3 stars guarantees, and they are right on track to finish off. Only one invincibility spell left to deploy, so cross your fingers, Kisara. I think that this is gonna be it. The 3 stars locked down in 19 seconds, cleaning up along the outer edge. I think that we should be able to finish off that elixir storage with just the headhunter in the middle. Race to the finish, grab that spell factory, shut it down. This is it! Hagura Metal triples in the end, and with an unsurpassable lead, PCZW are kicked to the curb.
Wow. Just wow. I was really uncertain that Hagura Metal could be able to do this because PCZW just was relentless. They were relentless. They were not backing down. They came in just no holds barred. They were not stopping. There seemed no relief until that final defense and taking every opportunity to get this done. But let's see if PCZW can finish off also with this 14-star war. They've had a phenomenal performance, certainly impressing us today. And I think they've just displayed that there are some insane Lalo attackers out there that we don't even know about.
Wow, this is an incredibly fast hit from PCZW, just dropping all the force right in the middle there. Big, huge blizzard knocks apart the Town Hall on what looks like an anti-2-star base. Town Hall really well protected in the middle there. Lots of walls surrounding, but manages to nab the Clan Castle after all. PCZW did not just quite get that Barbarian King down, but this is going to set up for a really nice clockwise or counterclockwise funnel just looping around the base. And so I'm pretty happy with the setup overall. It took a little bit of time out, but as long as we get these dragons on task, I think this could be a good 3-star finish for PCZW, despite the miss on this war overall. Finishing with 14 stars would be good. You know, not enough to get over it on top, but maybe for next week, they can come back with their heads held high as possibly the highest average star team that didn't get to move on.
That was just a disgusting opener. The value he picked up, just a massive chunk of that base, taking down the defending AQ, taking down a scatter, the CC, the town hall, just really getting this out to pat the dragons around everything so that we can just use the warden's ability early on coming into the scatter, get right to the eagle, and look at what the heroes can do. That king providing the tank for the queen, she's able to hold on to her own ability, and the real champ is able to just secure keeping those dragons moving along on their course, taking on the outlying defenses. This is absolutely stunning. And you know what? It's exactly what we would have expected to see from PCZW in the end. They have just displayed through and through that they are a team you're going to have to watch out for if you're playing against them in the weeks to come. Even though this will not be the win for them to move forward into the semifinals, just phenomenal attacks coming in from this matchup today.
I wish I could give a virtual high five to both of the teams because this has just been a wonder to watch. Hagura Metal and PCZW putting up 14-star performances, ever so tightly falling from that perfect war on both ends. I mean, they really just showed up and gave me a shot in the arm, a little bit more adrenaline and excitement for the offense that we will see later today and even tomorrow, as we are going to get to crown our second qualifier winners in this ClashMSTRS tournament. But that's going to be it for now. A 14-14 finish in Hagura Metal's favor, just on percentage. A slim 2.2% lead for them to carry on and up into the semifinals. Congratulations to both of these squads, but it's going to be commiserations for PCZW as they are eliminated in our single elim bracket. Next up, though, oh my goodness, Lady B, I don't even know how to toss off the tees for this one because these are two stellar teams at the top of their game with perfect wars in their past and ready to show up and show off what they've got.
Yeah, I am excited for this matchup. We are going to get to witness NY Amazing facing off against Space Station Gaming. These two teams pack a mean, nasty punch, and you are not going to want to miss it. So make sure you stay tuned because it'll be right up after this short break.
Welcome back to Clash Masters! Week 2 is deep in the weeds now as we have an amazing out-of-this-world action coming up next. NY Amazing and Space Station in orbit, ready to do fantastic battle for your delight. A $20,000 prize pool event in these short few weeks, and anyone can compete. That's right, even you, dear viewer. Make sure to get signed up with Clash Masters if you want to get a chance at the third qualifier happening next week, or maybe even make your way into the last chance qualifier if you score all the points that you need to get there. But for today, my name's Woody, and I'm joined here for our next war by Lady B. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, particularly after that last matchup, which had me on the edge of my seat. But, you know, Woody, I'm thinking, what could even top that? What could actually top that kind of match that we saw in performance? Well, I think this could be the one. NY Amazing versus Space Station Gaming. We've got two incredible teams who are no strangers to the World Championship circuit, to many leagues out there that are going to look to fight it out for a chance to continue up the ranks in Clash Masters. And, you know, this is their one opportunity for this week because neither of them actually made it last week. So it puts them in an interesting position at this point.
Yeah, golden opportunity now for both of these teams without any points to try to get up on that leaderboard. But hey, only one of them can move on from this point, and it's not going to be decisively well positioned if you can't at least get out to the finals. You know, we've got 8 points for fourth place, 10 for third, 12 for second, but 15 for first place to really get that big point jump to try to get into the playoffs. So at this point, if you'll pardon the pun, we really need to see a win if you want to be able to guarantee moving on. This is going to be a tough battle for both of these squads, especially with their prior performance. Let's give a shout out to NY Amazing for their perfect war just out of the gate in round 1 up against Nexters. Now up against Space Station now, who haven't yet gotten that perfect war, but having trounced over Indian Clashers, another big name squad, and of course undefeated to this point as well. We have got a great war for you, which is really going incredibly fast right out the gate. Niad is going to be dropping everything he's got. The whole kitchen sink deployed on this one, Lady B.
It really is, but he's got such a wide spread of these dragons, which always worries me as you want to keep them centralized, focused on their main targets. However, the Queen has really helped out with this one, as has this one drag rider to the outskirts, picking off the Warden Tower, coming in for the Archer Tower. And look at this. We've got just a blimp coming in for the Town Hall, taking down most of the surrounding defenses and leaving a pretty nice easement and cut across for the remaining drags and drag riders to actually pick everything apart. But they don't even need to do it because the King's got a mind of his own, and he is going for it with a Yak, with the Queen, who still has her ability, as well as that Royal Champion, who's just coming in to the mix to help this and doesn't need to burn through her ability.
Lady B, I feel like if I had blinked, I would have missed this entire attack. Less than a minute 30 used here, and Neon gets the 3-star showing. Dragons and dragon riders leaving me little time to react, prepare, or even really respond to what an overwhelming show of force that was right at the start. NY Amazing, with a perfect war in the past, has got another solid chance to do it again if they can keep the offense at that sort of tier. Space Station are going to be reeling, not just from the 3-star loss, but at the morale hit and just how easy it seemed for them to be able to get that perfect shot to begin.
Yeah, this is like throwing down the gauntlet. If I were Space Station Gaming, I would be shaking in my boots a little bit from that start of performance from NY Amazing, but I'm sure it's exactly what they expect to see. We all know NY Amazing is just an insane team that comes in with these lightning fast attacks, but it certainly puts some immense pressure building onto Space Station Gaming to try and kick this off on the right foot. You come in with a 2-star after that kind of performance, and I think team morale could slowly start to decline.
Well, that could be a perfect prognostication, or we might have a little bit of cloudiness in your crystal ball. Only time will tell, as the first attack next from Space Station will either give them an equalizer here now or a big let down. I think Space Station certainly are not going to be a dominant force in this war, but they could certainly hold their own, having gone to COC Esports World qualifiers before. Just the same as NY Amazing, you would certainly expect for both of them to be at the top of their game, having prepared as best they can for a very difficult bracket setup for today, bringing the best bases that they've got, and really having no holds barred for this first strike. Space Station is a team that has competed in Clash Masters in the past, though, and had strong starts to their wars that tend to sometimes dwindle toward the end. So if we don't get a 3-star here and now, Space Station are going to be in a lot of trouble. But even with that, NY Amazing could come up over the top through the mid-war.
Yeah, and for Space Station Gaming, we've seen a huge progression for them over the course of the year, especially defensively. We've actually seen them coming in with rather strong defenses through some of the various tournaments, including during the pre-qualifiers this past weekend. They didn't manage to make it through in the end, but I think the problem for them they're facing right now is to see a base completely obliterated like that from the start. They might start losing confidence on the direction that they're going if NY Amazing can really forge through that quickly. So they just have to keep this, they have to keep the hype going for themselves. They have to keep the expectations high and just prove why they are one of the top teams in the world, because we've got this phenomenal lineup that they bring to the mix, not only from the base building side, but offensively, some great hitters. And Crazy Ryan actually in the mix-up today. Exciting to see, because Crazy Ryan is known for his queen charges, and he's called Crazy Ryan because he likes to do crazy queen charges. So let's see if he's going to play it safe or a little crazy today.
Big deep dive out on the right corner, and that is going to get incredible value, cracking into 2 gigantic compartments. Only 1 Lava Hound for this Laloon push, but able to nab an air defense early, with the possibility of using a Royal Champion to grab that second one out on the right side corner. This could be an incredible start for Crazy Ryan. Just a shot at that bottom side multi-target Inferno is going to be another big shot in the arm. Taking down that scatter shot, like there are some really incredibly high value targets to take out for Crazy Ryan here, and he is making the most of this dive. Even an invisibility spell over there to force the repathing for this queen. Oh my goodness, the 200 IQ plays.
Yeah, this is exactly what you would expect to see from Crazy Ryan, going for a pretty grandiose big deep dive towards that town hall. We still have quite a bit left to go here, though. I'm curious how he's going to get this queen out of this one. Ooh, wall breaker, though. Steering off course and not necessarily pushing the queen where he wants to see her placed. And this is going to be a bit unfortunate. So the Royal Champ is now tasked to come in, help keep this moving along. And we actually are going to step up to the plate and Lalo straight into the town hall. So he's either got to drop the rage or this haste, along with the Warden ability, to quickly remove those loons from the poison bomb radius. But the queen, struggling to stay alive here, she's going to need to pick up more value than she already has.
Balloons are protected with Eternal Tome, and that scatter shot can't do nothing to them. Deep dive up in the top side with the Royal Champion, but her ability is already activated. They need to get those balloons in hot and fast. There's the drop, knocking apart that scatter shot. Did get one more big hit off, and there's no more insulation out in front. Wizard Tower and a multi-target inverter are going to be big splash damage, but it's the queen to save the day. Moving on in hot, takes down that multi-target inferno with still lots of balloons left for cleanup. It's just a matter of time now. 17 seconds left to get 10% of the base. There's a lot left, but this is a big, heavy drop. Can Crazy Ryan finish it off?
Oh, we're gonna see with the sneaky goblins coming in. 5 seconds left. Loon's going over the headhunter, helping out, and it is just enough to clinch that 3-star. Now, considering that queen almost veered off course a little bit, got stuck in the core, he had to force that Lalo into play while the queen hadn't picked up the multi-targeting Inferno. He really navigated that well, and you can see that the importance of that queen there, keeping her alive, that she did not die out through the rage, because had she not picked up the multi, not only would it have knocked down the loons that remain, it would have been the last thing standing.
boy, was that a tough one, but well-earned victory for Space Station by the skin of their teeth, by just a sliver of time left on the clock. But that's all you need. Close counts only in horseshoes and hand grenades, but this one didn't turn out to be a close loss. It was a close win, so we'll put that up on the scoreboard now. A 3-3 tie now for NY Amazing and Space Station. But if I were to give a little bit more commentary on the overwhelming strength of NY Amazing's attack, I would still say that despite the even scoreboard positioning, I think that they might be in the lead.
I would say that as well, particularly the time factor that we would have to consider if it ever did come down that close enough, which I don't know. If we didn't see it in that last match, surely we're not going to see it today. But who knows? Let's take a look, though, as Light comes in with the Super Pekka match. We do, again, have the Warden helping to lead the Forge here. Picking off the multi-targeting Inferno compartment and starting the path to lead towards a town hall. Now, I notice that we have a blimp, so we can come in pretty much from either side, but what we do want to do is sail that blimp typically through the Warden ability to lead right up to the town hall, and that is going to actually help re-navigate some of the pathing, take down the town hall, and keep those Pekkas and Super Wizards out of harm's way of the Poison Bomb.
Long bomb shot for this Warden on the bottom side. Staying away from those big giant bombs is crucial for the pathing here. With only one jump spell, there is still a lot of access for it to be deployed right there in the center, get to basically every single compartment. Instead, NY Light could use it alongside one of those walls to guarantee the pathing, but no, it will be right in the center, smack dab in the middle of the space to give easy access to everywhere. He's got to be a bit worried about pathing now, though, because if these troops spread out and go for all three compartments, he won't be able to concentrate the defensive support with that life aura from the Grand Warden, and really needs to make sure that enough go to the top for that town hall to finish it off. Big battle blimp soars on in with a freeze and a rage. That is going to get the first and second star secured, Lady B.
You get a little bit worried there with the tornado trap, but the Yeti, along with those sneaky goblins, able to take down the town hall swiftly. And yes, a little bit of a split up here, but the main focus stays on the bottom two compartments. The only problem is we need to get back into that multi-compartment. The Royal Champ here ready to go, along with that Yeti that came out of the blimp, who is going to help with the Yetimites to secure taking down some of the remaining defenses here. And hanging on to two freezes to the back end is absolutely perfect, because that is all this Royal Champ needs to finish a deal.
Hopping over walls and knocking apart every defense in sight. Still a freeze left to deploy for Light. This is a clean and easy triple. Chop it down, and with lots of time, NY Amazing have once again made it look so easy. So much cleanup even on the outer edges. All those witches survived. We got wizards doing work, Grand Warden, and Pekkas along the bottom side. I was super worried about the funneling with that one, just kind of sending everything in at once and letting them run rampant. But they got the triple. So can you complain? I guess not.
No, and knowing that with the town hall secured, even though there were those three compartments, it would be limited from the town hall side, with obviously that multi being the biggest risk factor, but the push carrying forward because of the connection of those defenses and structures to keep the Pekkas, the Super Wizards, the Queen down and moving around. And of course, when we have Royal Champions, we can send them in to help bypass or pick up where we need to. So that's one of those troops that's always good in these kinds of strategies to keep in your back pocket, because then you can adjust where need be.
Well, NY Amazing have every reason to feel grateful for the results from those first two well-planned strikes. But honestly, yeah, with just being able to send everything right into the middle and not having to worry at all about where they go, that was kind of the perfect base identification. I think was the more important thing to point out there for Pekkas, not having to crack through any walls and just hopping over every hurdle in sight. That was really an easy, I mean, they made it look easy, certainly, but getting that done with the triple Space Station can be very proud about the finishing result there. So let's go ahead and hop on into our next round now. Agent 33 from Space Station is going to try to get this work done with a massive Dragon Rider combo army. Very dicey start for this Queen charge up in the top corner. Hasn't popped her ability yet, but facing off against some Teslas, maybe an unexpected big drop of damage for her. How is Agent 33 going to respond and try to salvage this play?
Yeah, he is being very patient. He does not want to force this ability because we need it to go into the town hall. So Loon's really helping to keep this queen covered, and that unicorn just enough to keep her alive and well and carrying to take down this town hall. So great work there from Agent. Risky, definitely risky, but he knows what his queen can handle. He is a seasoned pro here and actually also a base builder himself. So I think that gives him a little bit more of an advantage in these kinds of positions. But we take the queen for one side of the base. From the opposite side of the base, we have the king taking down the eagle compartment, just picking off even more, taking advantage of the tanky offers and sending in the royal champ, all to narrow out what we need for these dragons and drag riders to cut through the center of the base. And this really is looking very clean cut, straightforward path through the core. We also have the bats, though, for the back end, which is going to be a huge push if the dragons just can clear up the majority of the center here, Woody.
Huge start here, and this is not going to be slowing down at all. Can we get Agent 33 on point, though, with these bats? The massive spread of both dragons and bats is incredibly threatening, and without any multi-target infernos, and with even an air sweeper working but not able to focus fire on any one clump here, I think the bats and dragons are going to have it done. Drag Bat gets a clear and convincing finish now, as the 3-star is just within grasp. Drop the final freeze out, and even though he lost the bats there, it looks like the cleanup is going to be slow but steady. One little minion on the bottom helping out on that right side. A couple more on over in the center. Tornado trap. Ooh, black bomb. Ouch. But still, I don't think enough to deny the triple.
Yeah, I was hoping to see a little bit of a spread with one drag rider maybe moving across, but still they are much faster than the dragons. So there should be just enough time to get this done, especially since the minions have been pinging away at those structures down at the bottom side of the base. He just doesn't want to hit any more traps because he really needs to go in this with everything he has to get that storage down if it hasn't taken on any damage. And it is mostly full health, but easy enough to pick up. Agent 33 definitely looking at that base from all the right angles. You know, like, unfortunate to see those bats you pointed out not there for the cleanup, because that just would have swept through, which is really what that attack did.
Yeah, they're going to be licking their wounds after that one. Space Station pulling ahead and showing that NY Amazing are not going to get that over and above victory right out in the early war. We are instead now transitioning to a mid-war where both teams, you know, just like in the past, have had a big offensive pickup. I mean, I guess I'm comparing primarily to the Hagura Metal versus PCZW war. Team Zex versus Axio was a little bit more defensively oriented here. But yeah, with 12 stars on the board from 4 attacks, this is a lot to take in and a lot for both teams to consider as the mid-war will be coming up next. There is no way that they're going to be switching over to more reliable 2-star guaranteed oriented attack strats. We might even see those big risky plays that have the potential for a 1-star fail. NY Shuai will be the next one to move in with a full Hog Rider army. Forget the miners, because this is going to be all about smashing those defenses down, Lady B.
It is. And we do send in the Queen charge to help secure the pathing for those hogs. We're going to want to thin this out as much as possible to move it along. I notice he's bringing along that siege barrack. So between that and the king, we really could shape this up perfectly, especially as the queen veers her way towards that town hall. Just coming in from the long side of the base, taking on the single, does need to invest that freeze, but it serves double duty because it helps to hold off the defending AQ and giving the queen pretty ample opportunity to work her way along. Now, we did use that wall break to open up this entire compartment, but we just need to veer our path and navigate through into the town hall. And I'm looking to see, is there another jump? Is there another wall breaker? But I think the queen's going to have to be through this one on her own. Although we got the king coming in. Let's see what he can do here.
our allied attacking king on the bottom, but an enemy king up on defense as well for the top side. Shuai is going to have a lot to deal with for this queen. Forces out the ability with a lot of fire raining down now. I don't see the king really grabbing any crucial targets, and with a single target beam heating up on him, he's really going to have a tough time in this bottom compartment against the town hall. Can he knock it apart, or does the giant bomb deny? Big blast back. King is down. Town hall still stands, Lady B.
Oh, he's going to have to adjust this fast. That eagle taking shots on the king too really hurt this one, so has to send in the royal champ to finish a job, and loses out his queen on this one. This could be really a hard push now for Shuai without the queen still alive and without the full support of the royal champion and her seeking shield for the very back end of this base, considering we are landing on the defending BK surrounded by the royal champion, and that scatter shot, that's going to pack a pretty nasty punch here. Ooh, yeah, this heal needs to go down fast for these hogs, because you can't heal dead hogs.
Well said, Lady B. We would maybe hope to be able to pull that off, but there's no necromancy allowed here in the arena. Only witches, and I don't see any in this army. Shuai will be continuing to push up along the top, but man, this is really falling apart fast. Good cleanup along the outer edges, but not enough on the interior side here to get the work done. And we are going to see finally our first defensive pickup, and it's for Space Station. Huge congratulations to Lexnos for the base building fortitude now to go on up against NY Amazing in a war where no player had yet missed the 3-star, and to nonetheless get that edge out. A pretty low percentage, in fact, as well for NY Amazing, relatively speaking to their prior performance. To just be in the middling 80s really gives Space Station not just the star lead potential, but also the big up on percentage, Lady B.
Yeah, this gives them a lot of room to breathe at this point going into their next attack. They know that even if they 2-star, hitting above an 83% 2-star is typically relatively easy in the mix. You know, and defensively, we're not seeing these huge, massive defenses like we saw in that first matchup. It really seems to be a very well-matched war that we have on our hands here on skill level, on base identification, on what they're bringing to the table, pretty much every which way. Not one of these teams really necessarily outdoing one another, but Space Station Gaming with that much more comfortable position and room to just take a bit of a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Although Nick isn't going to be sighing for long, because he is going to have to go give his battle roar now. Ooh, skeletons coming in over on the left side. Unusual start here to distract for the loons out in front of this Inferno Dragon army. Huge spread out and a big Grand Warden entry as well. Perfect timing on that Eternal Tome. Big, rapid, fast strike for Nick here with a rage spell as well, right on top of that Town Hall. Battle Blimp can't benefit from it, but the Loons sure can. Knock apart the Town Hall for the first star claimed. And even though it's going to be a spread out army, that's still a lot of support from the bottom side. Top side's taking a big drop, though. They're pathing directly into that Giga Bomb, and he's lost a big chunk of his forces, maybe around a third of them. Still, I see 2 Dragon Riders on the bottom, lots of Inferno Dragons to heat up. If they can knock apart this Eagle Artillery and avoid even more damage, they might get some really good distraction with those 3 skeleton spells left to be deployed. Need to keep that scatter shot off of them, but this one still is a possibility here.
Yeah, and holding off that multi, definitely a good shout as well for these Inferno Drags, as this really does progress nicely along. He's got the 2 extra Skelly spells. As you mentioned, this is going to help out quite a bit, but the Royal Champion really is going to be the key on this one. The fact that he wasn't able to clear out the entire Town Hall compartment isn't the end of the world for him, because he knows he has the power of the heroes to back him up on this one. When you have a properly executed Inferno Drag Rider attack, it's the heroes that typically seal the deal on the end of these raids. And look as that king goes, taking the majority of the lead, just barreling his way through the obstacles in his way. And the queen here, with that ability reserved, more than enough if he wound up in a sticky situation. But the royal champ and those Inferno Drags are more than enough to get the job done here, Woody. Can you believe it? Nick coming in with that 3-star and taking the first lead ahead in this match.
Congratulations to Nick when they needed it most to stay in the driver's seat. Boy, did he Tokyo drift through and just smash through everything around there, cruising along the backside like there was nothing to worry about at all. Big planning and an even bigger army to smash out in front. Nick, you've done it, man. Congratulations, hats off to you, and you have a well-deserved lead now over NY Amazing on stars, and a pretty confident start on percentage as well. This is now Space Station's war to lose.
It is. And again, you know, we're talking about being able to breathe that sigh of relief, and this just is going to continue to put less pressure on the team as they carry forward, just knowing that they have this potential, you know, this 1-star lead so far over NY Amazing. And that is not an easy feat within itself, especially seeing how they started off this war. So you can only imagine that they're going to try and continue to finish off the way they started.
Yeah, I certainly do expect to see that. We have only seen wars get even more heated as they continue here in Clash Masters Week 2. Some tight races and some overwhelming showing. So we'll see if the offense stays just as strong as it has in the past 5 attacks, or whether it's going to be NY Amazing able to get the reversal here. I think expect to see 2 triples from NY Amazing and 2 misses from Space Station if it does wind up being a win for NY Amazing. Very unlikely that all 4 attacks go in NY Amazing's favor, so much more expect Space Station to get the pickup on this round.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, anything can happen in these wars. You really could see a switch up. And, you know, you had mentioned it earlier today, was the position that the players come in when they're looking to go in early on. Are they confident in the attack that they have at hand? Or are they saving the harder bases for later? So we could be in that situation where some of the harder bases for Space Station Gaming are going to be these last ones coming in. But we've got GYY coming in with this amazing Blizzard opener, and he has just gutted out this section of the base, taking down huge value. The clan castle's eliminated, defending AQ's down, we've got the eagle down, and easy open compartments to really get into. These heroes could do a lot of work and just leave a very small amount of space for the loons to have to clean up.
Deep charge along the left corner and a long walk up on the top side. Ice Golem coming in late for support, but that is exactly what this Archer Queen needs to get into this Town Hall compartment. Big work yet to be done with the Barbarian King up on the top side as well for additional insulation and funneling. GYY, one of the most storied players in this competitive community, fighting for NY Amazing, fighting for their lives really, needing the triple here and now, and man, has he got an amazing start. Half of this base already destroyed. Cut it in 2, and the Laloons are yet to be sent in. Get the ability popped up there for the Town Hall, but it does not go down, Lady B.
It does not. So he's got to send in the loons to get the job done here, but the tornado trap sweeps it along. The loons get knocked down, and he's going to have to start going head in for this with the Warden. This was not the shape up he was hoping for. He got a lot of value out of that king, not quite enough out of the queen, unfortunately. And there's no support now from a Royal Champion to help with the scatter shot in the back end splash between the AD and the Wizard Tower there. This is going to be pretty harmful for GYY, but he handles this Lalo beautifully, as well as he could possibly. It's just that the multi now in the center of the base is also going to burn through and shred up these loons and leave GYY high and dry.
Well, you are a wizard, or perhaps a witch with words, if we're celebrating our Halloween season here, I'm happy to say. But high and dry is not a spot where GYY is happy to be. This is going to be another disappointing wrap-up for NY Amazing, a squad that start out really strong, but missing now in the mid-war against Space Station, which just seemed to be a team that gets stronger and stronger as these seasons progress, with more time to build up, prepare, and get ready to show us what they've got. They have really come in over the top. in this war against NYY. Amazing with not only their offense, but with these base builds as well, frustrating and crushing the offense from a squad that, as I just said, got a perfect war just earlier today against the Nexters. Really big congratulations to Space Station. Haven't gotten the win yet, but they are just about to walk on over atop.
Yeah, this is the defenses that Space Station Gaming has been bringing to the table. Some really nice, solid, clean pushes. And it's a bit unfortunate for GYY that Queen not taking down the Town Hall really caused the downfall of that entire raid. The Lalo pathing should have been pushed closer to the 3 o'clock side of the base, completely bypassing the Town Hall, maybe not some of the outlying defenses, but he could have been able to use that Warden ability coming into the multi and just easily spread out down to the bottom side. So he handled it as well as he could. At the end of the day, picked up that 3-star, and they're hoping, I guess against hope at this point, for some sort of miracle, but at this point, I don't know that there could really be one. We'll have to wait and see. Marinol coming in with their 4th attack for Space Station Gaming here and bringing in the Zap Lalo. We've been seeing Marinol come in with these incredible Zap Lalos, getting a lot of value out of the mix. Now, we have the 7-1 combination going for that multi-targeting Inferno right there near the Royal Champion, just clearing out that compartment, gets a couple shots on her, which means she's going to be easier to take down here, which will be a very nice position for the Loons. And you can use just 2 headhunters working towards that Queen.
Yeah, this is going to be the victory lap for Marinol. If only he can just keep his head on straight. A big, deep Sui dive in the right corner, like you said, Lady B, is super valuable, especially when you can get right up and close and personal against that scatter shot and deny it an additional strike. Taking that down, getting the enemy Royal Champion out, the CC pull. This is just like triple chocolate value here for Marinol, taking a massive chunk out of this base and really setting up for a beautiful funnel job as well. This might be one of the better stage 1 Sui dives that we've seen today, and I'm feeling very confident about this triple Lava Hound La Lune to follow up.
And the Queen making her pass towards the Town Hall, still has her ability intact. He's got the freezes that he can hold off the single and keep her alive and well. But the biggest problem right now is contending with this Hound. Gets a poison down for the pops, but the ability's already been burned through. So the Queen's not going to have enough juice to actually take on this Town Hall alone, which means Marinol's got a lot of Lalo work to do and is going to have to veer that course straight for the, well, I would say straight for the Town Hall, but he does have a Stone Slammer that he can throw into the mix, so he can use his Warden elsewhere, potentially. But that's not going to be the case.
Marinol with 3 Lava Hounds up on top, protecting these balloons. Good timing on the Eternal Tome. Don't want to use it too early, but you don't want to use it too late either. Got it just when that Town Hall was about to be going out. A little bit of damage there from the Air Sweeper, pushing those Loons back onto the Gig Bomb, and a lot more damage, in fact, with the second push back. These Loons are having a really rough go of it, with a Tesla popping up over on the left side corner as well, and a Tornado Trap in the center. Marinol is losing a lot of steam very quickly, Lady B.
He is, and that multi, part of the problem for him, having to come through that Town Hall, use the Warden in that position. You know, I like the use of the Stone Slimer coming in to funnel it along. It did give him a lot of power, and really at this point, he's going for the percent. He knew he's going to have to sacrifice something, and that has allowed him to keep this percentage moving along. They don't want to lose too much ground in this matchup. They will still be able to hold a 1-star, oh no, they're not going to necessarily be able to hold the 1-star lead if we're up to date. I have to see where we wind up with the star count, but this is actually pretty good, all things considered. You know, when you run into the Town Hall with your Lalo, you run the risk of really losing out everything that you have. So you have to play your cards right with the spells and really sacrifice that Warden ability in the best possible outcome. And that did work out for him. So if we take a look at the stats, this does leave Space Station Gaming in a relatively good position overall. You know, they've had a clean run so far. The only slip up that they've had, so 1-star position where they stand, and they've got yeah, the percent on their side. So they just need to play it clean on the back end of this now. But we'll see what NY Amazing has in store first. If they pick up the 3-star, that's going to put the pressure on Lexnos, who is yet to hit.
It looks like this war turned out to be a bit of a sprint rather than a marathon. The first 3 strikes proving to be rather decisive, even though we've missed in the mid-war with attacks number 4 for both teams. The gas left in the tank is not much of a consideration here because there's so much of a lead for Space Station that you'd have to get an overwhelming triple from NY Amazing and a really disappointing follow-up for Space Station for them to have a shot. Still, there is hope for fans of NY Amazing. Cross your hearts and say your prayers. Hope that that's enough to get you over the finish line. With one more attack left in this elimination match, NY Sue is your best hopes at moving on. A queen dive on the right corner will grab the town hall early and give this hog setup nice funneling work. Although there's a lot of walls in the center, they can hop right over, easy peasy, no problem, but it's all about the funneling now. Those multi-target Infernos can cause lots of problems for Hogs, so expect Sue to try to get those down up and apart with this queen as best he can. Still, big trouble from the CC and a lot of damage stacking up onto that Archer queen. She's just barely surviving and needs that rage spell stacked on top of those healers to stay healthy and happy.
Yeah, he hung on to that relatively well, just freezing up the Rocket Loon, keeping the queen at bay, and not having to force through that ability. We want to hang on to this as long as we possibly can. And we do have this jump that's strategically placed to actually force the queen back along into the town hall compartment. So this is looking pretty good so far. And 27 hogs to come into the mix. He just really needs to ensure that he gets as much narrowed out path for them as possible, because he wants to get the most out of that one heal spell and the Warden ability. That is all he's going to have to use to get them through a lot of splash on the back end. We've got those 2 scatter shots to contend with.
Stu has got a lot more left to do, though. Those scatter shots are deadly for Hogs, and it's an early Eternal Tome for this Grand Warden. Cracking through on the top side with those Hogs is going to get them awfully happy and closer to that scatter shot, but they are on a race to the finish now. Can they get into that compartment without going down? Dodge giant bombs as best you can. Stay away from the spring traps, little piggies, because this is going to be a mighty tough finish with 2 Wizard Towers left and a lot of clumping from these Hogs. Heal spell does get them almost topped back off, but it was a little bit aggressive in placement and leaves them short on the healing on the back end here. Now it's mostly just the heroes who are going to try to get the cleanup along the outer section, but with a single target Inferno well insulated in that bottom pocket. Sue has got high hopes, but I don't know if he can deliver.
I don't know either. You know, it felt somewhat promising, especially with the Yeti blimp coming in. The unfortunate thing is losing out the queen here on the back end. Again, with these hog attacks, with your hybrids, you do really rely on having your heroes for support towards the back end, where you fizzle out on your miners, your hogs. Even with Dragon Riders, the Royal Champ and the Warden and the King have been a huge support to this, but with a single that still stands, that is what ultimately does this raid in and gives Space Station Gaming a pretty easy pass. 2 stars for Lexnos, and it's a done deal.
Congratulations for Space Station. This is a huge upset and a big opportunity for them to walk all over another Worlds caliber team. Maybe I shouldn't even call it a huge upset. I was still, I think, leaning a little bit toward NY Amazing out of the gate, especially with their really strong start for both squads. But Space Station have stuck through it and have got a well-earned spot now. If just they can get that 2-star, like you mentioned. Lexnos is, of course, the finisher for this lineup, and doesn't even need to get the triple, although it sure would be a nice badge of honor to hang on his coat as they move into the semifinals for tomorrow.
It certainly would be. And, you know, I get the NY Amazing prediction more on your side for that. With the 15 stars that they came off of in their previous matchup, Space Station had 12 stars, but they've really been showing up today. Potentially pulling in 13, maybe 14 stars in this match coming in. We'll see if it's going to be a strong finish for Lexnos as he approaches with the Queen Charge Drag Riders. Now, the Queen patiently working through the defending BK, but setting her course. And, you know, not really a symmetrical kind of base, so you need to make sure that you get that pathing set up and ready. But he does have 2 invisibility spells, and we've seen this. The invisibility spells can be used if your queen goes in the wrong direction just to veer her back on course. But we just don't want to waste time on any of these kinds of raids, particularly the Dragon Riders. But King's going to work this along, gets that wall break in so he can clear out the AD compartment, take on some of the heat from the Grand Warden, and the queen should have some smooth sailing just a little bit deeper through in the base with this big open compartment.
Love holding on to that Stone Slammer for later on in the war, especially with an aerial attack. This bodes very well for Alexnos to get a massive strike in at the end. 3 rage spells as well. This is going to be an overwhelming finish. And with such a strong stage 1, well-protected Archer Queen out on top, rage spell keeping her still topped off. Despite the Eagle Artillery getting activated and starting to hammer away at him, he's got lots of spells to keep her nice and healthy. There is the freeze out there. Single target is going to lock onto her again, and he really does need to go pretty fast up in this top side, but he's got that invisibility. It's going to force the retarget onto a building instead, let the pups go on out and let her do the dirty work, finishing off that single target Inferno and keeping her on task for the rest of this raid.
And the king really not quite so helpful, so the drag riders have to compensate for it, and the queen needs to come back on course, but he knows that she's off on her own tangent here, so sends in the Stone Slammer. This is actually going to allow the queen to path through. Well, she's actually going to come into play, and maybe this will help her out, having the Stone Slammer in, considering we're met with the Tesla Farm on the back end. Just needs to keep the Royal Champ's ability as long as possible to try and take down that Expo and the Wizard Tower, and this should be good, but Woody, with that invisibility spell, I think he's going to be fine. I would say biggest issue is the time with 40 seconds left, but he's got a pretty nice spread out and hanging onto some of these troops, which is a very smart move.
Yeah, wide out spread. Alexnos is ready to finally collapse on in, finish off the remaining structures, grab this victory confidently. The 3 stars here puts them up on a total of 14 against NY Amazing, and with cleanup about to be just about done, with still a Swag Archer Queen ability left to use. It is all Space Station's war. They have had a tough run in the past for ClashMSTRS event, but it was smooth sailing today, and against such a storied and impressive team, this is an incredible pickup for them that they have a lot of reasons to be proud about, and maybe even get their qualification if they can go on through tomorrow with a first place showing. They've got a tough lineup. The other 2 clans that have already qualified, of course, going to give them a run for their money. Axio and Hagura Metal in the top of the bracket. They still yet have to face off against either X Team or Dark Jack. Those will be the last 2 clans that remain for our 4th match today, Lady B.
They are, and again, we're getting to see these teams that we've not necessarily seen or heard that much of, and honestly, I was thinking about this from the previous matchup with Zex and Axio. You know, with teams that maybe aren't getting as much visibility, it's going to be a lot harder to try and predict what they're coming in with to try and defend, but equally, it's also going to be difficult to try and go up against those spaces because you don't know what they're bringing defensively to the table. So we could have a very similar opportunity here on our hands, or as PCZW showed us, we can have an absolute near blowout match, but I'm definitely excited to see what we have to come with this.
Well, let's kick it off to a quick break. We will be back in just a few short minutes, and we'll see the next war between X Team and Dark Jack. Howdy y'all, and welcome back to Clash Masters. Week 2 qualifier of the second season. We'll be wrapping up with a firecracker of a final show. Our fourth war today between two relatively unknown clans, and a great chance for them to make a name for themselves as they seek to become the dark horse favorite for the big points and prizes that we have to give out today. My name is My name's Woody, and I'm here with Lady B. Let's take a look at the bracket, why don't we?
I was wondering if it was Freaky Friday, Woody. I got a little worried there for a second. We've had an incredible start to the day as we come into our final matchup. We saw quite a bit of defense coming in between Team Zex and Axio. And we saw lots of heavy-hitting action between Hagura Metal and PCZW, as well the same from NY Amazing and Space Station Gaming. But so far, those have reigned supreme are Axio, Hagura Metal, and Space Station Gaming. And now we get to see X Team facing off against Darkjack. And you mentioned it. You hit it right on the head. Relatively unknown teams. We haven't seen much of them in the mix. And this is kind of a big shift. We're not seeing so many of those big name, well-known teams to the table. So that does put an interesting position to what we're seeing, where we could see more defense coming in because nobody knows what to expect from any of these sides.
Yeah, good point and well said there. And yeah, I do want to pump them up a little bit. X Team has got a really high and consistent attack rating with an average at number of stars surpassing 13. Of course, they're undefeated to be able to make it here right now, but they've also gone up against some pretty well-known opponents. Cream Esports, they got a 3-star lead over. RTI, same story there. Then even Team Bangladesh, a big well-known clan that has competed here in the past. They got the victory over them with a 14-star showing. So X Team really just kind of coming out of nowhere and stomping some really tough foes. Darkjack, on the other hand, also just got a 14-star performance in their previous war. And in addition to that, they destroyed WHF with a 2-star lead. They picked up a bye in the next round, but over IndieFox Esports also had a tight war that they were able to emerge victorious from. So Team Bharat, their most recent opponents, down by 1 star. They've held off particularly well on defense. I'm expecting X Team to be maybe a little bit stronger on offense, but Darkjack to have some tricky bases. So let's see if it's going to be a win for the unstoppable force, or the immovable object, if you will, for our first round here, as X Team starts off, XBB in the lead.
Well, Woody, I am very hyped to see what these teams are going to be bringing to the table after you just spelled that out for us. That was perfect information to give not only us, but the viewers at home a little bit more insight into how these teams have qualified to be here, right there in the top ranks, with teams like Space Station Gaming, who someone's going to have to face off against tomorrow. So this is very exciting. And X Team kicking this one off with the Queen Charge. Looking for it. I see the healers. I see the minions. I'm looking for the rest of the mix-up here to come. But what am I missing, Woody? What am I actually missing on this one? As we need to work this along. We've got 2 loons. 15 minions.
It's a sandwich strike from the beginning, starting off with a Town Hall going down at the top side, and then at 6 o'clock we've got an Archer Queen charge. But yeah, I don't see like really any troops for this army. I don't know what even to call this army. It's just a very deep strike with a battle blimp on top to get the Town Hall, and then it's going to be like a Queen charge for the entire base. And then hope that you can get some cleanups with 14 minions in tow. As long as they can smash through the scatter shot on the left side and get the Royal Champion to knock apart the one over on the right side, this could actually work. There's like no army. It's just special forces.
Wow, splitting up those heroes. Look at that. Healers working with the Royal Champion and Warden, Queen charging along as the King supports her. And those minions are indeed going to be there for cleanup. This is not something you see every day. I can't remember the last time I saw a complete hero push like this. I think back in the Town Hall 13 days. But it died out relatively quick. Now, biggest problem here right now for XBB is that scatter shot that still remains. These minions don't provide a lot of support except for the outside edge, and still needs to be mindful of that air defense that's surrounding the mix here. but we do have the wizard trying to pick it off. Battle Builder holding this one up a bit, and time's a ticking with 25 seconds left to go. But the Royal Champion at least cutting across for those defenses to take them down. But it's going to be a race for the minions to try and clean everything up here.
Yeah, only 12 seconds left. I don't think that race is going to go in XB team's next team's favor here. XBB really giving us a... Wait, hold on. Does it actually? No, that elixir storage has just got too many hit points. Awfully close. And hats off to XBB for a certainly off-meta play, we can say, in the very least. But does that get all the way? Answer, no.
That is a huge bummer. I was hoping he'd get not just that shot off, but I was hoping that storage was low health, and that unfortunately is a huge risk you run with an attack like that. The minions really not able to offer as much support. You know, we see similar kind of attacks like that with the rocket loons where you invest all your heroes, but the use of the extra healers just really limits you. Still very, very cool to see. And that 99% could come back into play, as we saw for Hagura Metal earlier today with their 98%. That brought them over the top in their matchup.
Well, very nice done job there to X team. Didn't get all the way over the top to find that victory that they were hoping for, but nonetheless do get the 2-star 99%, just similar to what we had seen from Hagura Metal. Indeed, you are right. In fact, I think that eventually would bode well for them. So yeah, the comeback potentiality here on the percentage race is still big possibility. IP from Darkjack will be the next to attack, though with their opponents missing out on offense in the first round. I gotta say, I think Darkjack are gonna be very happy about this, but what is happening over here in the top corner? So many loons popping out there, and then just getting spun all around, Lady B.
2 clone spells invested in that, and we're gonna see if it was worth it, because unfortunately the majority of the drags and drag riders actually veered to the outskirts. Some wind up going through the poison bomb, but he still has some dragons in the core of the base and has the heroes alive and well. But that was definitely amazing to watch. If these dragons can actually clear out the core, get that taken down, the heroes have a lot of opportunity, I was gonna say, to finish the job here, but the Royal Champ, who's already burned through the ability, that's not going to work out. So it's really relying upon the Warden and the remainder of these dragons with the Queen.
IP's got plenty of time left, though, and lots of dragons along the top side. Does knock down the defenses in the middle, and with an ground targeting Expo, IP's got nothing to worry about down there. Gets the ability usage off there for the Archer Queen, and this is going to be a clean 3-star. Very well done to IP on a dominant performance here in the first attack for Darkjack. I was expecting maybe them to be more of a defensively oriented squad, but with a 3-star out the gate, they now have the lead in the beginning.
They certainly do. That 1%, huge factor, because it gives them the 1-star lead now. And, you know, one thing that I wanted to say after that, the first attack that we saw, but kind of carries over into this one, because we don't see a lot of attacks that bring in the two clone spells like that. You know, we've got teams that are just veering a little bit off course to the standard meta. So that in itself can really give a team an edge up, because if you don't even know who the teams are, it's hard enough to try and defend against them. But if you don't know what kind of attacks they're bringing to the table, and they're bringing off-meta items, that's going to make it even harder. So this is really going to be, I think, a very interesting war for us. I'm hoping to see some more exciting strategies to come to the mix.
Oh yeah, of course I am too. Fingers crossed for that. But with Darkjack able to get the lead at the beginning, it's not going to be just exciting strategies that X Team need to bring to bear, but exciting finishes as well. The special forces play, as you know, I was happy to term it there, with just really using the heroes and lots of spell support. Big dives up in the top side for the town hall and crucial big compartments to knock down. That was something definitely out of a playbook that I'm not familiar with. But maybe we go a bit more old school now, switch back to the newly buffed strats out of the recent balance changes, going into Hog Miner or Law Loon, as has been successful in the past. I'd love to see maybe kind of a hybrid between those two if we wind up playing like a P.E.K.K.A. Smash with a log launcher, though. So it'll be up to them with their next attack to show us what they've got. But with an unusual start here, X Team could put a big question mark in Dark Jack's mind as to whether or not they're going to be able to finish off with that strong showing at the end that maybe they were hoping to get.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it starts with that 3-star here. You know, and that's exactly what we saw with Hagura Metal. They did not back down after one small time fail, and I don't think a 99% is going to deter the motivation of this team to try and forge forward. Now, we do have the Blizzard kicking this one off, so we are going more to that old, reliable, more in-meta attack strategy, looking to pick up this Town Hall here, clear out this compartment, and we do invest all of those invisibility spells. So let's see where the Royal Champion will come in. My assumption is likely along with those Drag Riders, but we still need the King and Queen to help settle this up just a bit more and narrow out the push for the Drag Riders themselves.
Long walk out here on the bottom side, and with a massive strike on that Town Hall compartment, this is going to be a big opportunity for the Queen Sui dive with this here, with a Barbarian King out front, to actually not go down early, but instead get into that bottom right compartment, knock apart the Eagle Artillery now activated. Oh, never mind. They're going to get big support from the Dragon Riders instead. A big complement of troops supported with an Eternal Tome, potentially perfectly timed. If he can just get a little bit pushed further in, could be some amazing value in here for Den, the second striker for XX Team, who's dropped nearly everything he's got in terms of army, but with 3 free spells, now just 2 on the back end, he's got a little bit more to do against these multi-target Infernos. A Tesla trap in the top left corner is bad news for him, though. Can he power through, Lady B?
I think he can with the Queen ability, and that Ice Golem still kicking off. He has 2 freezes left over. It's just where he comes in for this scatter shot. Unfortunately, it is launching its way and splashing around between the Warden and the Electro Owl, but the Drag Riders swiftly working their way through, and the Royal Champion. So drops that final freeze, so hold off the AD, and that's going to allow these Drag Riders to work through a little bit stronger and help the Royal Champion with some of the ground defenses here at the very end. But really, this Queen needs to help carry along, force through that ability, and we're just about through those defenses. It's all a matter of cleanup in just a second.
Den has done it. X Team will get the 3-star they hoped for. Dark Jack still in a potential spot here to lead, but this is really a nice start for Den to show up with a 99.5% average destruction for X Team. It is not decisively tipped toward either team at this point. And with that big offensive follow-up that we were hoping to see from X Team, maybe they're back in it. Maybe now's their chance to get in to a leading position. Dark Jack really just need to falter with a 98%, and at that point things can tip back toward X Team's favor. The percentage so high for them out of the gate, and with that 3-star on the second round, Dark Jack are going to have to stay at the top of their game if they're going to want to get that win. This is starting to kind of echo the previous war, though, between NY Amazing and Space Station, where NY Amazing just wind up missing a little bit of percentage at the beginning, and Space Station kind of cruise on through and hold strong till the end. Do you think that that's going to once again be the storyline here, or does Dark Jack falter in their second attack?
You know, with what we're seeing from these teams, I think the way that they carry through with their first attack, I expect to see a 3-star. I do expect to see them coming in with these nice big pushes and being able to adjust where need be. And that's kind of the name of the game is, you know, even if a few things go astray, being able to hold off on a hero, just reserve those spells to come in. And both of these teams have shown that they are certainly capable of that, but particularly Dark Jack in their first attack earlier on. So yeah, I'm going to call the 3-star and keeping this one just inching ever so close.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear it. Let's see that next inch come about now, as Beast Ayush from Dark Jack has brought a bit more standard of a play from troop perspective, a queen charge leading into a dragon rider, but with lots of spells to add on top, and quite a few troops to add in here. Look, he's got a goblin and a sneaky goblin to maybe do a little bit of a poke and prod. It's going to be the queen charge in the top corner to start things off to get maybe access into this Town Hall compartment. Just need to get that crack with a super wall break. But I don't know, maybe it's going to be a walk along the outer edge instead. There's the crack right next to the Archer Tower, Lady B.
Yeah, just wrapping his way around, and we see this quite a bit. I've mentioned that we do kind of these long pushes towards a town hall, just shaping everything up. Really what it does is it's almost like self-navigation of your queen, so she doesn't veer off course too much. If you were to just break in to the initial position where she was charging, you would just not necessarily be able to predict the pathing that she was going on. This allows her to go straight forward into all of these Teslas. He's taking huge advantage of clearing out this core, and that jump should actually connect her right into the multi area. It would be nice to see if she takes a jump. I'm not convinced that she will. I think she's going to get pulled more towards the expo, but it would be beautiful to see her in there because she just gets a little bit more cleanup value for the drag riders, but this is pretty narrowed out. I think about as narrowed out as it possibly could be at this point, especially with the king taking on the scattershot compartment.
Beast has got a big stone slammer to drop for the bottom side now. Dragon Riders stacked on top and right next to this Grand Warden, ready to get that Eternal Tome as soon as they start taking damage. It's going to let one salvo of the Eagle Artillery fall off, though, but just before that Stone Slammer gets out of that range, will pop it off. That big ability, super helpful, especially with so much damage crashing on in. Two relatively centralized air defenses are going to be troublesome, but one does get popped down by the Arch Queen, so there's really only one left now. Stone Slammer's just getting shoved around by this air sweeper, though, really preventing it from staying on target. Can Beastayush path back toward the middle and get these loons to knock out the air defense and that last remaining scatter shot, or is this going to be a problem that the Queen has to deal with in the end? 45 seconds left to finish this face off. Throws out the shield from the Royal Champion. That could be decisive, Lady B.
It could be. 35 seconds left to go. More than enough time to finish the job here. We've got Dark Jack coming in, picking up another 3-star. We kind of do have one of these matches on our hands, Woody, where no one's really backing down. I don't know that I can call a 99% 2-star time fail backing down. So it's just a game of chicken still.
Well, cluck, cluck. Who is running out of luck? We are just going to have to find out as the next attacks come in. But with a 3-star right there, we are still left with a question mark hanging above our heads as to which team is going to get that decisive pickup. Dark Jack now in the lead. But yeah, I said it was the closest possible advantage in the previous war when it was a 99% to 100. It's even closer this time with X team having gotten a 99% in their first attack. Another really tight start for the first 2 rounds by both squads, but Dark Jack really putting up an aggressive, dominating, convincing performance is really tipping my scale over toward them, especially because I was predicting that they might be more expected to be on top in terms of defense early on. The fact that they are now leading on offense bodes particularly well for this squad. So good luck to Dark Jack and X Team. The choice is up to you, though, as to who gets to move on and toward that $20,000 prize pool. But what do you think, Lady B?
I really don't know what to think of this matchup because we are seeing really clean hits, well thought out plans, and some creativity that we saw from both sides from the start. Just out of customized, outside of the box thinking, not going in with a full standard, but they are still going in when needed. Now we do have X Team following up here with some hog action, 34 hogs to the mix. So we're going to get a lot of power out of them, which is a good thing. And we've got the 2 heals that are going to help carry them across. Definitely important because we've seen the queen charges when you have to invest so many rages. The hogs are really at a huge disadvantage with only having the warden ability and the 1 heal. So you have to really make sure that you're sectioning off as much splash as possible. It'll be similar to the case here, but it's going to be a little bit more allowance for these hogs.
Yeah, open up and breathe a bit here. 2 heal spells is just about the minimum that you would expect to be able to get them on task. But with 33 of them, this is going to be a lot of damage very quickly applied. Great positioning there with both the hogs and the Grand Warden here, using that Royal Champion to knock apart the defenses that are still up in that bottom left compartment. That should keep them well protected and on target. Soaks 3 giant bombs with that Eternal Tome, and that is just fantastic news for X team, whose hogs are now going to collapse back into that tiny compartment. Great positioning for that heal spell to get them topped back off. The freeze is out, the heal as well. This is looking like a triple.
It really is, and I love the Warden ability used early, not only because of the damage coming in and those giant bombs surrounding, but the spread out of that portion of the base with the heals getting more value a little bit deeper through, and this is how he has so many hogs left over. Really understanding the value of those spells, of the radius of them, and how to keep those hogs working along smoothly. X team is really trying to stay in it to win it, but 1% is denying them of that potential opportunity so far.
Yeah, an unfortunate loss early on, but hey, they are making the most of it. And as we've said time and again, perseverance is what wins these Clash Masters wars. X team have stayed on track as best they can out of that little stumble out of the front gate. But Dark Jack are really going to be forced to once again get another triple if they want to stay in the lead. A tough call for a team that has already put up 2 impressive attacks, but with such an overwhelming showing, maybe they've got more left to do. Is this going to be winding up turning out like the Space Station war that we saw before us, though, where Space Station and NY Amazing out of the gate, like the first 3 attacks were stellar, incredible, out of this world, and then they both kind of started to slow down around the mid-late war, not really having, even with a lot of time to plan and prepare their attacks, the ability to carry through and get those triples.
Yeah, I think that's the trouble, because every team has their own way that they approach coming into these wars. Some teams will leave more of the risky attacks to the start, which, I don't know, is that what we saw? Was it more of a psychological game trying to say we're coming out of the box with something you're not expecting? Didn't necessarily work in X Team's favor, although the 99% could come back around. But either way, I think it's really difficult to determine because we don't really know that much about these teams. We can only look at some of their previous standings, and we really didn't get to see that mix of it, how they were actually going into that gameplay. And that really plays a huge factor, so much so that teams like Queen Walkers actually say it's a secret recipe. They won't even talk about why they go into their matchups that way, like why each player has their own spot. They will not give that information. I've asked them. But let's take a look, because we do have Dark Jack trying to continue to hold this lead that they have, gripping onto that 1 building, 1-star lead. That is going to be make or break it to move forward into tomorrow's matches.
Bit of a slow start here. We do see the Tesla farm popping out over on the right side, so nice jab out there, trying to grab that mortar, it seems, but instead finding that Tesla farm. We're going to get some early fire raining down from this Eagle artillery, but pop off that Eternal Tome just at the right second, and you dodge both those shots and keep that Battle Blimp safe all the way to the Town Hall. There could not have been better timing from that strike, and with every single balloon that you can throw at that compartment out now, rage them up and spreading out. That's a big drop. Loses all the balloons for that strike, but does quite a bit of damage over in there. X-Men has got a bit of a spread now, as some of the dragons pathing toward the center of the base are going to find their way onto that multi-target Inferno and the Air Sweeper. Good targets here, while the rest of those Dragon Riders up on the top right side are going to be targeting defenses only. That was a really clever repositioning and funneling job done by X-Men. Can he get everything finished off, though? A scatter shot walloping these poor dragons in the bottom left. Multi-target Inferno burning up in the center. He is going to need a lot of firepower to carry on through.
This really shows the value of those clone loons with the blimp, just clearing out most of the defenses surrounding, because you can have an easy push around the outside of the base. The Royal Champion has even more opportunity to finish off some of these defenses and give what remains of the dragons and dragon riders the fighting chance. But really, the opportunity now is for this queen, but she's got her ability left over, and there's a minute on the clock. Even if she were to have to cut through the base, zigzag along, she would be fine to finish this one. We've got X-Men coming in with another 3-star on the board. I said it, nobody's really backing down at this point, and it's like they're in a complete standoff, stare off. No one wants to actually blink. It's like staring.
Well,
They're staring at each other.
They sure are. And I mean, that's how I would imagine it too, you know, from across the thousands of miles and, you know, whatever space on the interwebs there are between them. They nonetheless are right next to each other, in each other's face, showing everything they've got. And with, wow, 6 attacks and 5 of them being triples. Yeah, exactly. Right into their souls. This is still going to be a lead for Dark Jack. You know, really tight war. X team trying their best to come up over into top, but every single time they get that triple so far in the past couple of strikes, Dark Jack has been able to do just the same and say, you know what, send it right back. Ball's in your court, fellas. This does not look like a war that X team is going to be comfortable to finish up now.
I think this is a perfect match to finish off the day. If we wanted some excitement after just the buildup that we've had, this is certainly the war to do it. So kudos to both of these teams. They're keeping it interesting. They're keeping it exciting. I know, like I'm right here on the edge of my seat. I'm just hanging on to the handles, just waiting to see who actually is going to win this, because it's a coin toss. We don't know yet. You know, 99%. You just need one small hiccup and it's over for Dark Jack. And it gives X Team that opportunity to capitalize off of. But again, they still need to continue to keep themselves in that kind of position by throwing down yet another 3-star. And we do have Jaga coming in with the hybrid. So let's see how he's going about to approach this. We have the king and queen sectioning off. The eagle compartment, I actually like taking down the eagles early on because I like limiting that damage, that continuous fire. It really can wreak havoc. So when you can get some good value out of it early on, always nice. And it does shape up this beautiful path for the dragons. And he can just self-funnel with just one dragon along the outskirts of the base.
Moons and Dragons up top are raged now. Jaga from X Team sends out a big wave and spreads it out thick on this base. The killer number 2 is about to face off against a big battle blimp right on top of the town hall. All of the bombs triggering onto the protected battle blimp will not be there for the balloons. Nonetheless, they do go down, and so does the Dragon Rider right next to it, to that massive Gigabomb explosion. But I think that force has done its job. Nice funneling for the remaining forces right here stacked up in the middle. Does look like we get a little bit of a distraction here from these dragons that are going to start spreading out and trying to get work done on these pups a bit too late. But nonetheless, they are still in the fight and will be pushing as hard as they can to finish this thing off. For another win in Jaga's column.
Those skellies were a really nice shout. Now, they weren't enough to distract for the Royal Champion, but they did distract the oncoming defenses for the Dragon so they could clear up the core, and we could reserve these freezes to the back end of the base, holding off the single targeting Inferno, which we know would just quickly burn through, roast those dragons up. So this worked out perfectly for Jaga, and, you know, that's kudos to his planning, to his execution, and to his patience overall, just keeping a keen eye on what's going on. And this is a difference maker. You know, we see a lot of dragons. People used to call dragons spam meta, just spread it and forget it. And that's not necessarily the case. You really have to be adjustable. You have to be able to be flexible with these attacks and keep an eye what's going on so you know where best to use your Royal Champion if she's coming in for the back end and where to use those spells.
Yeah, so well said. I think that turned out to be quite an impressive finish. Lots left for this war, but X Team pulling up another 3-star now, up to 99.8%. It is starting to feel awfully hot, Lady B. Dark Jack have got 2 more attacks left for them, but the only way to guarantee victory now is to just get back-to-back triples. X Team falling just ever so slightly early on has really kind of set the tone for this war in what might have otherwise been the tightest one that we could have possibly hoped for. Instead, now Dark Jack are just like half a step ahead of them. You know, X Team takes 3 steps forward, and then Dark Jack has got the 4th one to just be right on top. It's like a game of, you know, schoolyard baseball trying to figure out which team is going first. They keep putting their hands on top, and there's one more to just cover above it. So Dark Jack doing very well and outsurpassing my expectations, especially for a war that seemed to be oriented more along the like 12, 13 star average performance for both of these teams with a nearly perfect start and these 7 attacks. I am blown away, frankly, by relatively unknown names, which have really come out strong for themselves today.
Yeah, and they just keep volleying that pressure back and forth, and no one seems to crack from it. No one is having any hiccups at this point, bar that 99% that we started off with. Ever since then, X Team has just been serving it left and right, and Dark Jack seems to not want to bend on this one. They want to go into tomorrow's matchups. They're going for glory. But it really does put on a lot of pressure for most teams. I don't know why it's so different for them so far. Let's see if they can carry through. We've seen a lot coming from the air, a lot coming from the ground, but the Super P.E.K.K.A Smash seems to be one of the most comfortable ground strategies for most players, but it can also have its downsides to it, time being a huge factor. And when we start off with that Warden, that is what we have to be very, very mindful of. We want to pick off this multi-targeting Inferno because as we set our course leading towards the opposite side of the Town Hall, we can sail that blimp through. We just want to make sure that it doesn't target those healers.
Paku Bai with a slow start here. Warden Walk is just about the longest time that you have to invest in a stage 1. But yeah, grabbing that multi-target Inferno with the healer safe out and behind. Even though he's lost his poor little Electro Owl flapping its wings up there on the top corner. The P.E.K.K.A Smash strat, as long as you're able to jump over walls, can get fantastic value. Only one jump spell here, though, and a lot of compartments on the interior. I'm expecting then instead it's going to have to require a breakthrough with super wall breakers at some point, maybe along the back and outer edge. I don't know. These walls are going to be terrifying to have to get over. He does crack an additional layer there, and with that, he's going to get some more funneling done on the right side with that Barbarian King smashing through and finding little resistance so far. Big rage spell stacked on top. Paku Bai is on fire, Lady B.
He is. That blimp sailing through for the Town Hall compartment. It's got a long push. So I am curious to see if he's going to be able to make it that far. We do have another super wall breaker in the mix, and he just relied on the sheer force and power of those P.E.K.K.A to smash their way through the wall so he could connect with the jump. I was wondering if he was going to try and position it into the core of the base, but this gives him access to potentially use later on, weave his way in and out, but I don't see too many areas. Maybe he's connected to pretty much everything that he needs to be, so it's not necessary. It could help him with a little splash if he needs for the back end for cleanup, but this is looking like a clean run hit for Dark Jack yet again. Queen still reserving the ability, even has a rage left over here that he chooses to use for that P.E.K.K.A, just powering along, and it does benefit the Queen. So 33 seconds left. This is going to be the biggest issue, Woody.
Yeah, time never on the side of these 4 attackers, is it? And with a Warden Walk out the beginning, that is going to be a lot invested to try to get in early. Oh, seeing a Skelly Trap on the back end is bad news for Paku Bai, who has to crack that ability off as fast as they can. But you know what? With 2 more minions to get the last little bit of cleanup done, you just have to finish off that tiny little hut there in the center. With the ability to hop over walls, that is easy and done with. Paku Bai from Dark Jack has done it. Continue the reign of terror, the absolute destruction. 12 stars claimed in the first 4 attacks, and just that little tiny mishap from X Team is just languishing in the dustbin right now, trying to climb back out like Oscar the Grouch to get another chance at glory. Instead, X Team now have got all their hopes on this last one. It's basically do or die at this point. You need a 3-star just to keep your fingers crossed that you can get away with the win.
Yeah, and that 3-star may not be enough at the end of the day. We've got Dark Jack, who is looking to move in with the perfect war to get that one edge up over X Team if X Team is to triple. I just want to point out that Royal Champion in the end, a beautiful push from the Royal Champ, who actually did her job. She jumped over those walls. I was a little bit worried she was going to get distracted further down the base, but she went up to the right side to pull in that 3-star. And I think that was probably the closest attack that we've seen coming in from Dark Jack yet. So maybe the pressure is building up on them. So we've got Melly, who has one final opportunity to see if the pressure can surmount them, if they can pick up this 3-star. Oh no, Woody, the Town Hall does not go down. He's got to invest more now to take this on. Was that the Yeti blimp that came in to take it on and just not enough juice?
Disastrous for X team, having a Giga Inferno to have to force yourself into. Oh, these two dragons are just going to get their gooses cooked. Melee has really made a big mistake here and being pushed back by the air sweeper as well. Not even going to get to go in deep into that compartment and target, making use of that free spell. This is just over before it even began. When you commit a battle blimp like that, you have got to hit. When you go for the king, you best not miss. With that shot thrown away, Melee is going to lose the day, and there is now no hope left for X team in this. Darkjack are rejoicing as their defenses have held off against an impressive attack, and it looks all but over now.
Yeah, the Royal Champ having to be expended to take down the Town Hall is just, it's unfortunate. The Drags do make their path there, but knows that it's not enough reliance for them to take it on. The King and Queen actually have done a relatively good amount of work, and with a little bit of veer off course of that one Drag Rider able to get through the defenses, this actually has turned around exceedingly well, all things considered. That was huge investment to lose out with the Yeti blimp, and I am impressed that he's been able to turn it around this good so far. Not enough for the 3-star at the end of the day as the Queen loses out, and the King won't be enough to finish this off, but kudos. We have seen such a beautiful run here from X team so far, and I think their only hope is maybe a 1-star. They have to have some big defense under their belt for this last attack.
Well, that is going to be it. Commiserations to Melee, who nonetheless got the 2-star and actually wound up surpassing my expectations, but with just a Barbarian King wandering about and still high walls against these remaining defenses, he is walking to his doom. A dead man walking. I'm not saying that just because he's got the Skeleton King skin on right now. Melee, you've done well, but you're going to have to pack it in because this is going to be the end of it for X team.
Yeah, it looks like the end of the road. Like I said, 1-star? Maybe? That seems like a tall order considering we have had Darkjack go perfect so far, not letting up any steam. I can't imagine they would come with any sort of risky attack that would be tripped up. I would think that they're going to be able to really give it their all, you know, especially if that's all they have to focus on. Safe 2-star, and you get the win.
Yeah, right on board with you there, Lady B. I think that this is a tough situation, but you know what? Darkjack are going to be happy to get another defensive pickup. They got it out the first hit, and they'll get one out the last hit as well. That's why you build the great bases that you do, to give yourself a little bit more wiggle room on whatever attack may be coming up against you. You don't have to go so wild out and crazy on your last hit now. All you got to do is get that reliable 2-star. And so with a battle blimp in tow, the killer number 2, who we had seen previously on defense, will now get a chance to swing back into action. And this should just be a walk-away win, a victory lap, an easy one for the killer. But will they go all out and find that perfect war? What a storyline that could possibly be there.
Yeah, and I love that they're finishing this off with the clone blimp that's going to come in with the 2 clone spells. This really just, it looks so nice when you see all of those loons surrounding the base, and there's no way that's actually going to miss the mark on taking down the Town Hall. And even if it would, we always have the Royal Champ as backup here in these kinds of raids. We typically reserve her for the back end, so if that were to happen, she could easily take down the Town Hall herself, especially because we've brought some freezes to the table. But look at this, those loons getting cloned up, absolutely overwhelming the defenses. A little bit cut short with the tornado trap, but still a nice push for these dragons to keep in line along with the heroes.
Huge hit for the killer number 2. Congratulations for this second strike. Once again, in Darkjack fashion, just dumping it all on the table with a good plan out of the gate. You can really leverage the offensive boon of having everything on the battlefield and ready to get the DPS dumped in. You know, there's fancy plays here that I like every now and then, but as I've said before, and to quote Napoleon, there is a quality all its own to the quantity brought on the battlefield. You just overwhelm these defenses, especially when you're setting up with Dragon Riders that can go directly for the things that will challenge you the most, taking out those defenses early on. And even, look at this, a little bit of cleanup action along the top side. Baby Dragon and a Wizard to finish things off. There is plenty of time left for Dark Jack, and this is going to be an extremely exciting finish for this squad to finish with not just the victory over X Team, not just advancement to the semifinals tomorrow among the top 4 squads in the Clash Masters Season 2, Week 2 qualifier. They are going to get the perfect war after all.
That perfect war it's the most elusive thing you could hope for, and it seems so much more difficult to get these days, but they made it look so easy, just coming in with all the right strategies and even some different thinking. I don't know that we often get to see 2 clone spells. It's a lot of spell investment going in for the blimp, but it really pays off for them. They've shown the value of it and their beautiful navigation of their dragons, of course, anyway. But kudos to Dark Jack that will move on into tomorrow's semifinals, Woody.
Yeah, hats off to them, and looking forward to see what they've got for us in the semifinals. We'll have another look at the bracket here before we finish off. Axio and Hagura Metal victorious in their initial matches over Team Zex and PCZW. They will be facing off first off tomorrow in our next match, while we've got Space Station and Dark Jack taking the wins over NY Amazing and X Team respectively. That is your second semifinal match. These 4 teams will get the most points available, the biggest prizes for our second week, and the opportunity to get a victory overall. We are so pleased to be bringing this show to you today with the support and excitement from all of the Supercell community and Clash of Clans fans out there watching us. My name's Woody, and this has been Lady B. Before we finish up, though, today, I want to remind you all to follow us here at this channel, where you can catch our action once again tomorrow at the same time and place. Thank you very much for tuning in. And Lady B, I'll let you take the outro and give your final thoughts before we wrap things up.
Yeah, awesome. It's been an incredible day. Great to see so many new faces and teams coming into the mix, and that should just encourage all of you out there to enter, to get into these tournaments. So make sure to check out Clash Masters and get your teams qualified. There's still more time. You can get in it, and there's a huge mix-up of teams that we're seeing, so no one's really securing those top spots yet, but definitely looking forward to the incredible action to come tomorrow, and we'll get to see Woody and Carbon Finn for that. So same place, and we will see you there tomorrow.